All right, boom. We're live, bro.
Hello.
I think we're live. We should be live. I believe we're good to go. All right. Vince, happy to have you here, man.
Good to be here, brother.
Thank you for doing the podcast, dude.
Absolutely.
Let me get this shit closed up here.
It's basically, like I said, is what else do we got to do?
Down here. That's the craziest shit, is like, there is nothing to do, is there?
Pretty much
fucking wild, man. It's fucking nothing, dude. At least we get to hang out doing this. And this is honestly kind of cool, because if you think about it, when we hang out at shows in public, we don't really get to hang out. We're screaming at each other. Yep. We're half buzzed.
What was the last show you went to? You know what I mean? So,
literally, probably either something local, probably Skywind, maybe one of your shows, maybe Joe's birthday party.
Okay.
Something fairly recent, maybe Wither the Time. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
it's been a minute for me, so it's good to talk with y'all.
Yeah, dude, and it's wild, dude, because like I started this podcast with one intent and then found this complete other benefit, which is like we can be really close, which you and I have had a very interesting relationship, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. We have a very interesting history, a long history together. But I've had that with a lot of cats that I've had on this podcast, where after 3, 4, 5 hours of hanging out with them and talking to them, I'm like, man, I didn't know anything about this dude.
Right.
And then, and I thought it was just me being like a shitty friend, right?
Yeah.
Until other guests came on and they were like, dude, I've known that dude for like 15 years and I didn't know any of that shit about that guy.
Right.
So real quick, for the listeners and the viewers who don't know who you are, which I know seems a little silly, but
no, man.
We do have like some people in the UK and shit that listen. So for people that don't know who you are, just kind of give them the bullet points real quick and we'll get into some nuanced shit.
Yep. So I'm Vince. I sing for Nuisance, aka Old School Nuisance Crew. Also sing for a new band that we've been working hard at called the Ghosts of Mississippi, which is kind of a cool acoustic. It's just such a wild meld of music that it's kind of hard to put a label on it, like Johnny Cash meets Outkast kind of thing. But yeah, we're working hard on that, trying to get an album out, trying to get some music videos, do that kind of thing. We supposedly have a show in Wisconsin in January, but the way things are going, who really knows,
Yeah, how are things going in fucking
Scotty's fucking the
Wisconsin.
wild west, man. They're out there running around, no masks on. It's
That's
like
what I'm
Mardi
saying,
Gras
right?
every Friday, Saturday in Hudson. It's ridiculous, man.
That's
crazy.
what I'm saying, man. It's fucking
It's Wild West.
Yeah, we were talking before the podcast for a while, actually. We were hanging out, and yeah, shit is just crazy. There's nothing going on. So to even hear that you might have a show, back in the day, it would be like we'd have fucking how many of them, man? I mean, we're booking out 2 months. You're playing probably at least every weekend. If you're really pushing it, you're doing probably a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just fucking, and then if you're really pushing it, you even come back and do one on a Sunday.
It's been so long since I've done that kind of thing, just because it's, want to oversaturate as an original band,
Yeah, I'm thinking more like when you would do it regionally. So like you'd play like Minneapolis on Friday night. You'd go out and do St. Cloud Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then, or I'm sorry, you do
Fargo, Des Moines,
Thursday night somewhere.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yep. And then you'd come back, if you're really pushing it, you'd come back and do Minneapolis again on Sunday, but you do like an all ages show at the Triple Rock. So it's a completely different crowd. Or you'd go over and do St. Paul, which for some reason we've never been able to get people to cross the river. All that kind of stupid shit.
Yourselves,
and then the next weekend you wouldn't do those cities again,
Yeah.
Well, and vice versa. Like you're one of the only bands that had the ability to bring people across the river. So you brought those St. Paul people over to Minneapolis and actually had good shows over here.
Vice versa. Yeah.
We couldn't bring our people to St. Paul.
Yeah,
like you remember, we played hundreds of shows together, Vince.
Yep.
Literally, you and I have played hundreds of shows together.
Yep.
Now, you've seen my band draw well at the Rock, at Star Central, Urban Wildlife, everywhere we played, right?
Yep.
Not anywhere in St. Paul.
Yeah.
As soon as we played Station 4, empty room.
Yeah, it's weird. People don't know. People from outside of St. Paul don't know how to drive in St. Paul.
It's a terrifying place.
Out, man.
The driving makes it terrifying, man.
Yeah, I get it.
But once I'm supposed to take a left there.
Once you figure it out, it ain't so bad.
The spoken wheel, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
You gotta have a couple roads that and then you got St. Paul figured out.
Yeah, because you basically you're driving around in a big circle and then you jump into a smaller circle on a bunch of little avenues.
Yeah.
So if you really know what you're doing, you can cross through the middle of it and pop out on the other side, no problem.
Drunken Irishman.
Yeah, but if you're a fucking moron like most of us, you get lost in St. Paul.
Yeah.
There's I know so many people that have either been pulled over or gotten in accidents, like minor fender benders in St. Paul, because it's so confusing down there.
For sure.
And they're like, fuck that, I'm not going.
Because I know, as a young cat crossing over to Minneapolis, I'd be like, yo, what is all these one ways? It's just, what? But it's really easy if you think about it. It's all numbered and presidents and whatever. But
there's some system.
Reason
over here, it's alphabetical.
Yep.
Yeah,
which
presidents over Northeast.
But you go to St. Paul, it's Snelling University, whatever. It's just weird. There's no reason for it, but it's home. I love St. Paul.
I went to school in St. Paul.
Where'd you go?
Midway.
Oh, so Central or?
Where? No, not a real school.
Oh, okay.
I went to a creative arts school over there.
Okay.
It's do you know where Lexington and University are? And then another block down, I can't remember that cross street, but
so it's almost Frogtown.
Yeah, it is basically Frogtown. Yep. And so it's like University, Lexington, one more block there was that blue community building.
Okay.
We were directly across the street from that in an old car dealership.
Okay.
So the front of our building had a rounded thing right on the corner. And it was all windowed out. Yeah, it was St. Paul Creative Arts. I went to school over there, man.
Okay.
So I got real familiar with St. Paul, and it was cool because once you're in St. Paul, once you're out of downtown St. Paul.
Yeah.
Because the spoken wheel shit, that's downtown, right? Once you got into a normal neighborhood of St. Paul, it reminded me of Northeast Minneapolis, which is where I fucking lived.
It's a great place to live, man.
Yeah, man.
I lived over there most of my life, and
it's east side. It's east side. That's a little wild.
Yeah, it's wild. But you live in North Minneapolis, so I don't know. We'd say you're wild,
we are a wild bunch over here, but it's different gangs over there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
I'd say
more
them are the two toughest neighborhoods in Minnesota, but I would say North is probably harder than East Side.
Yeah, but we got one type of gangbanger over here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
East Side's it's a different animal. And
you got what? You got the Asian gangs over there. You got the Mexican gangs, and you got the black gangs over there. And we're talking real G's. We're talking real gangbangers. We ain't talking a bunch of fucking dudes who think they're tough. We're talking real turf war and shit. So it's a little different animal over there.
It's mainly the younger ones that you got to watch out for, because they got something to prove, and
that's what it's like over here.
Yeah, it's
it's always an 18-year-old to 25-year-old kid.
Right.
Yep. I've noticed something living over here is the only difference between white people and black people is the age they chill the fuck out at, right? So white dudes typically get burnt out somewhere between 25 and 28, and we're like, man, fuck all that shit. I ain't got energy for that shit. Black dudes, it's 30 to 31. It's a smaller window, and it's a couple years later, because unless they're already chill, because there's a lot of young black dudes that are already chill. I'm talking about the wild ones that calm down. You know what I'm talking about? Us. I'm talking about us right now.
Plenty of wild.
When did you burn out?
Shit, I still haven't burned out, man. I'm doing stupid shit all the time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you are not the same guy you were 15 years ago
honestly,
when we started hanging out.
I've always been pretty chill. It's because that's the way you got to be in the hood. You can't be the crazier you are, the
more attention you
bring.
More
attention, more people want to fuck with you. And for me, it's always been just skate by.
Keep your head low.
But I lived in suburbia life for a little bit as a kid too, so I mean I got a taste of all of it. But I my kids grew up in strictly St. Paul, and I brought them over to a buddy's neighborhood in the suburbs. And I'm like,
well, what about all our friends? When did you see all our friends start chilling out?
They chill 20s, early
20s.
Early
20s?
Yeah, mid 20s, early 20s.
Because I was hitting it hard till 26, but I still didn't calm down till 30, 31 years old.
I had kids at such a young age that I couldn't be out. I think
that's a game changer.
It's a game changer, and it's either you got to chill the fuck out or
be a bad dad.
Yeah, or be a bad dad. So tried to chill out.
You do seem like a really good father, man. I just got married recently, and Kate and I are trying to start a family. We're planning a family, whatever the verbiage is for that. And You know, it's interesting because like we know a lot of people in the scene who've fucking been wild. Some guys got married young or had kids young.
Right.
Some guys have been married and gotten divorced. Some guys have been married and gotten divorced a couple times. Some guys it's just a wild array of people.
I mean, that's the United States, man.
But
that's
you seem incredibly stable. Like what seems to be the secret? Because as I'm going back into a public life with the podcast, and I'm still doing the music. I finally got my shit together with that. The music sounded great. Once COVID lifts, or I got to go to other states, like I'm going to tour, like we're gonna perform. All that kind of shit. You've been with the same woman. You guys are married?
No.
You're not officially married?
No. I mean, we were, but going through that at the moment.
You guys are essentially married.
Yep.
I mean, you've been together for fucking ever. You guys have got kids.
Yep. So I think like taking care of the kids is always most important, and being as stable as possible with work and, taking care of.
Get a little closer there.
Yeah,
or pull it closer to you.
Taking care of bills, taking care of business.
But how do you, this is what I'm asking though specifically, man, because it seems like you've done a really good job of like being a good dad and being a decent husband. Obviously we all have things to work on, but balancing the chaos and the pull. I just had my buddy Dan Lugo on, who's a Christian minister.
Yeah.
And like the temptation, you could use that word. You know what I'm getting at? Like, how do you balance that, the want to go party? Or did you just naturally get tired?
Just let me, so basically I'm pretty much going through a divorce right now. So,
shit.
Yep.
Okay.
So
sorry, man. I didn't realize. I didn't realize it.
But so speaking of stability and, like, I think that no matter what, you got to try to, just take care of your business, take care of your kids, make sure you got a good stable home for them, and try to spend as much time and do what you got to do. But the key, I think, is busting your ass in life, period. If you want anything and want to get your family further, or do whatever you got to do. So it's a lot of hard work, man. You know what I mean?
Well,
and even with your house,
let me rephrase my question.
Yep.
Let me rephrase my question, because is what I'm really getting at is you may be going through a divorce now, but that's actually literally proving my point, because you're not getting divorced because of the chaos of the rock star life. It's not possible right now.
No,
that's what my question is.
Well,
how
it never was.
Right, and that's what I find impressive. Is like, so what would you say to a young musician? Maybe he's got a kid, because a lot of guys just quit, bro. That's what I'm getting at. They either quit and they think they have to just be a dad.
You do have to chill. I mean, it's like, I had opportunities to tour, and I had record label offers at one point in time where you just start number crunching, and you're like, man, I mean, like, I've hung with some of the biggest rock stars, and they do well, but we're talking about like Slipknot and Killswitch Engage, and like they make a living, and fucking thank God they do, because what else would we have to look up to and try to follow?
That's a good point.
But man, what a hard jump to make that, to like, all right, I got a decent job. I wrap cars for a living. So
you have one of those jobs. I don't want to interrupt you, but I've told you this online. You have one of those jobs where it's like, dude, I would go do that job. Like, if you guys desperately need people one day and you pay decently well, like, or if I win the lottery and I don't care about
the
money.
Market is so huge. I mean, people wrap.
I'd love to do that job.
I wrapped some lockers today with Jean-Claude Van Damme on.
Let's not digress. We'll get to that, because that is a fucking cool day job, and I want to get to that. But keep telling your story.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. I just think, we talked about this earlier about like what Kid Rock said about you're in it for three things. But honestly,
you leave the basement,
like the older I get, the more I kind of feel like I am in it for the music. I really don't care if someone doesn't like it anymore. I don't care. Like it's solely like what do I want to go down as, like, someday this is the best music I ever made.
Okay, but let me ask you this.
And I feel like I haven't done that yet.
and I respect that, because I think the reason we keep doing it is because we love the music. The reason we started doing it was because we love the music. But if it's anything other than the love of music, then why do we even post videos? Why do we put music out? Why don't we just record it and listen to it for ourselves?
You do want to share it with people, and
because we're attention-seeking whores.
There's some of that, but also the obligation at this point in time, man. I mean, there's people out there with nuisance tattoos and shit. I can't let them down, man. They need new music, so they deserve new music. It's like a family at that point. But even like the next project we're working on, it's going to be a lot of covers, a lot of originals. It's going to be a mix of the two, and being able to cover everything from Eminem to Johnny Cash to.
But you're not doing straight covers. You're doing them your style.
Yeah, our style. But some of them will be close. I mean, you can only do so much. But if an acoustic band, acoustic guitar, drums, keys, bass is playing an Eminem tune, it's gonna sound cool. It's gonna sound different.
That's what I'm getting at. Is it's not like you're gonna it's not like you sound like Metallica and you're gonna cover a Metallica song.
But we're gonna play like the Beatles. We're gonna play such a white Sublime, Citizen Cope. Just such a huge.
And you don't sound like any of these guys as a vocalist or as a band, so it's impossible to like I just said. The best analogy is you sound like Metallica and you're going to cover Metallica.
Yeah.
It's going to sound like Metallica.
No, it's going to be a wide range. I'm kind of hoping for like that Perfect Sturges kind of band where they're like, because nowadays bikers like so much different shit. They're really into hip hop, really into country, really. And not just bikers, but the whole world, man. Like, I want to be able to play in front of 18-year-olds, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I know that tune. I know." Give it that, and then also mom and dad are out and they're like, oh my god, they're playing the Beatles right now, or they're playing to be able to cover that range of music. There's very few bands that can get away with that, and
that's called transcending. And that's a big deal, and that's one of the glorious benefits of doing covers, especially if you do it the way you're talking about it. So I'm kind of doing the same thing, man. Like, I'm doing my group. I forgot to play that shit before we started the podcast. Maybe I'll play it for you afterwards. But like, it's dope, dude. It's really good.
Yeah.
And point being is that the way we're doing them though is I'm not covering any songs by any bands that sound anything like us.
Right.
So Metallica did this. Metallica, I'm just going to default to them because everybody knows who they are. Metallica picked obscure bands that no one had ever heard of, but sounded like Metallica.
Right.
And then they covered them and passed them off as their own. You can do that.
Yep.
You can also create like a legitimate cover style band where you're just really good at mimicking other people's sounds and you write your own music.
Right.
So you like do all this crazy cool original music and then you bust out a perfect version of Bruno Mars or a perfect version of Pink Floyd. That's fine too.
Right.
Because I was raised in the world when you're going to do a cover, you do two things. You either try to do it as close to the original as possible, or you go your own direction with it.
Yep. And I feel like oftentimes when you hear a cover song, you immediately are thinking, is this better than the original? No, usually it's not, right? But in order to accomplish that, occasionally you'll be like, yep, that's better than the original. And usually when that happens, it's because they've made it their own and you're like, oh fuck, this is, I mean, Johnny Cash and Hurt, I would say that that's better than 9 Inch Nails version. I mean,
I would agree. And not only
some people argue that, but I think even Trent Reznor would be like,
he said it.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
He's on record.
Right.
He literally said it. No, he would agree with you 100%. He said that's now Johnny's song. That's
Absolutely.
No longer my song. He did it so well. That's Johnny's song. That's a Johnny Cash song now. That's no longer a 9 Inch Nails song. And that I think is interesting because I think that's a unique one because you're getting guys like you and I who probably heard that song before Johnny Cash covered it and still admitting the new version's better. And you get the composer in Trent Reznor saying the new version's better. I think most of the time, at least for me, when I think the new version is better, it's because I was introduced to the new version first. So as a kid, I heard Aerosmith's version of what's that fucking Beatles song they cover? Dun dun dun.
Come Together?
Yeah. So I heard Aerosmith's version of Come Together before I heard the Beatles version of Come Together. So for years, I liked the Aerosmith version better. I thought it was better because that's what I heard new. You know what I mean? I think that's how it works for most of us.
Yeah. I think you're probably right.
Or if it doesn't work that way, it's what you said. That's
Yep.
what I'm getting at. Is
Yep.
like, because you went and did it your own way. And then what Kevin, my roommate, believes, you remember the Tyrants, that rock band? He was the bass player for that band. He believed the best covers were covers that were not done well in the first place. And then you found like a song that never did well and kind of sucked.
Yep.
And you like made it bang.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the hardest thing to do.
Damn. I think that cigarette's choking me out.
You need some air?
Yeah. Take a sip here. I've already had the COVID before, so I'm quite certain that I'm not passing it around here.
Well, I put up a heat shield. I put up a new heater in here because it's a basement. It gets a little chilly in here. It's Minnesota.
Yep.
So I put a new heater in, and it was too hot, right? And it was blowing in the wrong directions and shit. So I put up a heat shield, but it was impeding the airflow. So
yeah,
I just moved her, turned up the fan. Should be good. I can also smoke less.
Yeah, it's fine.
I chain smoked during these, dude.
Yeah, it's as a just a e-cig smoker, it's weird going to cigs, but that's fine. I mean,
my goal though is to make you guys as comfortable as possible.
Wow.
So
in that
one thing
sweater,
I do,
I think you're more in it for yourself.
This is definitely all for me.
Yeah,
this is all about me. I'm definitely not trying to look good.
Comfy grandma, man. Comfy grandma.
I'm definitely not trying to look good.
Nah, man, that's a good look.
If any of the viewers are wondering why I keep looking like this and I'm not looking at the camera or my guest, it's because I keep having to check stats and make sure that the stream is still up. We have had a couple whack-a-mole issues over the last couple podcasts, so we're gonna see how well this works. So far so good. So far everything looks amazing.
Beautiful.
And we can see you guys in the old chat. So if we like go on bathroom breaks or shit, we'll try to get to any questions. If you guys want to post them in the chat, we'll try to get to them, but that's not really what we do in this podcast. We don't really interact with chat. But there are those weird, awkward moments where somebody's got to go to the bathroom and it's like, well, what do you do? Well, that's why I decided maybe we should pull up chat so that way you're not talking to yourself. The first couple podcasts were horrible. Did you watch the first couple?
Yeah, I scrolled through a few. You know,
the first couple were pretty bad because like literally my guest would be trying to tell a story and I'd be like, okay, I already heard this story. So you keep telling the story to the viewers and we weren't really live, right? And I'm like, and I'm going to go to the bathroom and I can hear you right here, which was true. But dude, it just made for such an awkward situation. So we're growing, we're figuring it out. Yeah. We're getting there.
Yeah, that's good.
But what were we talking about before I distracted us like I always do?
We were talking music. Yeah, I don't know. I think.
Oh yeah, we were talking about like, is it really just about the music if we ever leave our basement? And I can honestly say I don't think it is. I'm willing to admit that I'm kind of needy. I need attention, and that's why I'm doing a podcast. That's why I do music and publicly. I mean, that's what I say. You know what I mean? If it was really just for my own personal pleasure,
right,
I would just record this shit and listen back to it. But how egotistical would that be? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to record my music because I love it. And I'm going to listen to it for my own pleasure.
Just
like, how narcissistic is that?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think there's a good answer. That's what I'm getting at. I can see
like being such a self-perfectionist.
I'm not trying to prove a point, I guess.
Nothing you ever did was good enough, Because I've been there before, too, where you're just like, yo, you got to just put it out, man. Quit with the bullshit and just, like, it is what it is at this point. You gotta let go of that ego a little bit and just drop your best. But yeah, I don't know, man. Music's a trip. It's literally therapeutic as fuck, and I couldn't imagine a life without music. I plan on being 100 years old making music if I can not cough for an hour straight, like tonight. But it's I don't know. Music is life. It's dope to be able to have the ability to write some stuff that maybe can help someone through a tough time or possibly bring some kind of light to a dark situation.
Well, dude, let's get into that. So how the fuck did you end up becoming a musician? Let's stay away from the style for just a second. I just want to talk about the mindset, like, because I've noticed a trend in where, again, when I started this podcast, I thought a lot of these things I was like, oh, I'm unique. And then after talking to dozens and dozens and dozens of musicians, not just on this podcast, but through my life, including during the podcast, but not literally on it. Shit, man, I'm not unique at all. Yeah. Like, I'm basically an amalgamation of like every musician I know. Like, like, okay, you may not relate to X, Y, and Z, but this other dude said that's exactly how he thinks and feels. It's amazing. Yeah. So there's this correlation, like either people have had like musical parents, yep, or a really shitty childhood, yep, or they were really into sports and it didn't work out. Like, yeah, it seems to be like 3 reasons people get into music. Which one was it for you?
I played a lot of sports as a kid, but I never really planned on it going anywhere.
But did you love it back then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you were really fucking into it. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, but also, I always wrote. So I just always, I listened to a lot of hip hop, and I just always thought like it was fun to write rhymes and fun to be a poet, So I started there, and I never ever thought of like being a singer. It just was, I wasn't in choir. Mom could play the guitar a little bit, but nothing too crazy, man.
So where'd you get introduced to the idea of like poetry and writing? Like rhymes and
school
and hip hop and that whole thing.
I mean, just listening to. I've always loved music. Like.
What was the first one that hit you? Like, wow,
dude, I remember. I mean, God, I don't know.
Because you realize it's a big deal for me to have a not pure metal musician,
right,
on my podcast.
Like as a youngin', I'm talking 80s. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, Skid Row, like all. That shit was. That's what was hot. But then as time went on, like the Beastie Boys was like, oh, what's this? And I liked it. I didn't love it. I was intrigued by it. And then I kind of went, I was like probably 13 listening to 9 Inch Nails and Jane's Addiction and like that whole, Red Hot Chili Peppers, early Chili's.
Yeah.
Totally into that shit. And then as time went on, like, I think just living where I lived, my sister started really getting into like Tupac and E40, and so I kind of went that route with Outkast and Bone, and I don't know, man, lots of hip hop, all hip hop and gangster rap at that point in time. But
so you were kind of just fucking around on the side, like you weren't thinking like, oh, I want to be a rapper. You were just kind of doing. So
I was like, I could do this, man, and I started writing rhymes, and some of them are kind of poetic, and some of them are kind of.
But why? This is what I'm curious about. So, like for me, let me put it in context, right? So. Because this question might sound weird. Like, what the fuck is this dude trying to ask me, right? Here's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I always liked music, right? I always saw people playing guitar and, like, mimicked it and thought it was fucking cool, right? But that's not what did it. What did it is I had an unstable upbringing with an unstable father figure, and he was not around, and I didn't really have a dad. And then I seen James Hetfield on stage in a live video, and I was like, I want to be that guy.
Right.
And so I just started at 7 years old, emulating this guy.
Earlier than I started. I mean, I was.
But it was. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I guess is what I'm trying to say is that was the first time where it was like music became encapsulated in a person, right? And so for me, being a 7-year-old kid, not knowing what a man was, like I didn't, I was super aware as a young kid. I'm like, what am I supposed to be? Like all these people seem like all my friends, like they act like their dads. I don't have a dad. I have a mom. I don't want to act like my mom. Like blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, like I knew I really liked metal and music and Metallica. And then I seen James Hetfield in this live video and I was like, that's what I want to be like. So until I discovered myself, I just tried to emulate him, and he was a musician. He played guitar, and that seemed like the coolest thing I could possibly do.
Right.
So I was like, I already love music. I could totally see myself doing this.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know, because even at a young age, I would close my eyes and be like, I wanted to be a fireman. That was my first dream. But I'd close my eyes when I was playing baseball or you know, pretending to be a musician. Is like, can I visualize myself doing this?
Right.
And like, is what I couldn't visualize myself doing was being a politician, being a scientist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sitting in a lab. Like, I'm like, nah, that doesn't seem like me.
Dude, I bought my first microphone and a little crate practice amp. I think I was 18 years old. So I was late to even getting into music.
How old were you when you started writing the rhymes?
11.
Okay, so somewhere between 11 and 18, it became real.
But it wasn't even more like I was writing them to rap them. I was just writing them to see if my brain could go there. You know what I mean? See if I could. It was weird, you know, just write it. I would listen to these dudes like, I mean, Tupac and then Atmosphere and, you know, local dudes, and just like, holy shit, what do you got to do to get your brain at that level to be able to narrate a story and make it rhyme and like make it flow, and like there's just such an art to that. So all these people that are always like, you know,
now this is making sense.
Right. Just
now I'm starting to see inside your head
like,
a little bit more.
Could I do it? Not necessarily flow it, but just write it. And then in my mind, you know, like it would sound good or whatever.
So in other words, you were blown away by a specific talent, and you were like, man, I want to see if that's easy or hard.
Yeah.
Like, what do you got to do to do that at a high level?
Yep.
And the more you tried, I'm assuming now, I'm gonna make an assumption. The more you tried to get good, the more you realized how difficult it is, and it's a real art.
Yeah.
Like cooking.
Absolutely.
Like you see cooking.
Dude,
cooking show. I could do that. Yeah, try, motherfucker. That's why your shit tastes like shit.
Notebooks full of lyrics.
800?
Like, at least, dude. I mean, all right. Well, I don't know. I'd have to dig through the trunk.
I mean, notebooks can be small and thin and little. I mean, dude, 800's not
shitloads of them. And
I probably have 400, and I haven't even done vocals for 10 years.
Living with a band member for a bit, and I remember talking to my roadie, and I was like, yo, who do you think in this band puts in the most time at what they do? And he's like, you? Because he's seen I literally write as often as possible. And it's not multiple times a week, hours at a time, you know, and it just filling notebooks because it's what I'm passionate about, you know, and most of it I don't ever share.
When did it grow from? So how did it become a passion versus?
I was working with this cat, and he sang in a band. They're from Texas and very Pantera-y, and at that point in time, like I wasn't into the metal side. I was more on the hip hop side, you know, but Rage Against the Machine was kind of drawing me over, and then Korn came out, and I was like, I could fuck with that. And then it was like, yo, why was I sleeping on Pantera so long? You know, now they're probably one of my faves of all.
Really?
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Pantera rules.
No, I meant like how you were sleeping on them at first.
Yeah, just slept right through it, man.
Because I can relate to that. There's bands I hated for years.
Yep.
Where I was just like, meh, and then all of a sudden, like a switch goes off. And you're like, this is my favorite fucking band now.
Why did I? But I'm almost thankful of that, because maybe I would have burned it out. Because there's bands that as a kid I loved, and now I'm like, what the fuck? Why did you ever like AC/DC?
Yeah, I just admit it, and I go, I just wasn't in the right headspace. Emotionally, mentally, musically, I wasn't ready.
Well, that's what's cool about music too, is there's different phases of life and different phases of music, and like, you know, I mean, I don't really find myself listening to metal too much.
So were you already into music when you ran into this Pantera band?
No, just writing lyrics, you know. So I worked with him, and he moved up here, so he was no longer in his band.
You weren't obsessed. You weren't going to concerts all the time yet?
No, okay. None of that.
But you just kind of, so you're just a dude. You're just kind of doing your thing. You're just kind of like writing shit on the side.
I've been to a couple concerts. Like, I think I went and seen Rage Against the Machine, and I seen Stuck Mojo.
And how old are you?
17.
You're 17. Okay, so you haven't bought your first PA yet.
I haven't bought my first PA yet. So I started working with this cat at Devani's or something, you know, little kid jobs. I started working with him, and he's, you know, showing me all of his tapes, and he's like, yo, you play music at all? I'm like, no, not at all. And he's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, I don't, you know, just not my thing. I love music, but he's like, well, you like a lot of good bands? I'm like, yeah, I write a lot. He's like, no shit, you should let me check your notebook. And I was like, Yeah, dude, for sure. You know, like next subject, Rob, you know, whatever. And then later we got to be better friends, and he's like, yo, seriously, you gotta let me read through that notebook. So
you seem like a dude that's hard to get close to. Like, you're cool, you're fucking easy to get along with, you're easy to talk to, but you do seem like one of those dudes that, like,
I think I'm misunderstood because I try to spend more time listening than I do talking. You know, like it's just always kind of been and it was kind of a curse as a younger dude because people are like, yo, this dude's just quiet as hell. You don't say shit, you know.
Until you get on stage and then you're
right.
monster.
Well, and that's always a weird thing
there,
too, man.
We'll get there. We'll get to that shit.
So he's like, yo, let me read through your notebooks, and he starts reading this shit, and I wrote one of it was this crazy ass, like, you know, Christopher Columbus-y type of thing, and he's reading it, and at the end he starts crying and shit, and he's like, what the fuck, dude? And I'm like, what is your deal, bro? And he's like, yo, that was unfucking believable. Like, you gotta try to put that to words and like let people hear that shit. And I'm like, what? No fucking way, dude. I can't sing. I can't, you know. He's like, yeah, but you like rap, and like I heard you rapping some Tupac or whatever. And I'm like,
so he knew you had timing, you had rhythm,
yeah.
And if you're rapping to something like Tupac,
right?
If he doesn't think you sound like shit, that also means you have some sort of pitch,
something,
because you're not rapping out of key.
Right,
like
exactly.
He doesn't sing like Nelly, but Tupac does have a cadence and a pitch.
And that was always a thing too, where I'd like to mimic in Wu-Tang, you know. Dude, I was so into Wu-Tang.
Yep. Okay.
So
see, this is starting to add up. This is starting to come full circle.
Like
here.
as I would be writing, you know, then I'd be like, yo, I wonder if I could spit, you know, Method Man's, you know, here I am, the Method Man, you know, that whole fucking flow, and then try to get it all the words down and like get it to sound all right. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, he brings that up, and I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, you know, I guess I do sing along, or I rap along to a lot of shit, and you know, it could be interesting. And I'm like, yeah, still though, you don't just hop on a mic and be a singer, you know, like it ain't that easy. So then, you know, different bands started coming out. The whole new metal thing really popped off, and I started realizing, like, a lot of them dudes can't sing, you know, like they rap, right? So, and honestly, man, I couldn't either. I just did it a little bit better than some of them. But as time goes on, man, the more time you spent writing and just working on things, I find it a lot easier now. Like, I can just sit down with a beat. 30 minutes later, I got something I can present. You know?
You're hanging out with this dude. And he goes into tears. He starts pumping you up. He starts being that positive, motivating pusher. Like, because Joe Rogan's got a guy like
Kyle Rasmussen.
A shout out to Kyle Rasmussen.
So he's down in Texas. He actually drove up for our last CD release party, him and his son, which was really special.
Because you do realize Rogan has a dude exactly like this in his life. Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah,
a UFC fighter that he was friends with. Was like, dude, you need to be a comedian. Like, it was somebody else that convinced him to do that.
Yeah. And Kyle, you know, Kyle did that, and so I started messing around in a basement with some homies, and you know.
Hold on. I gotta explain this. Somebody's gonna be confused why the fuck I just made that. This is why this is significant, because you might hear that and go, man, I wish somebody would encourage me like that. Don't take it that way. That you're being a selfish prick. Come on. No, you're potentially that person for someone else.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story here. You might see something in someone else, and you might be that person to inspire a Joe Rogan or a Vince Ebertz or a Jared or a whoever. Like it's a big deal. And so, like, it's cool when somebody else sees that in you and encourages you, because this person essentially unlocked a door you didn't know you had access to, and that created an entire new life.
And I'm still making music, and he stopped years ago.
Either way, though, if he doesn't do this for you, do you meet your wife? Do you have those kids?
Right.
Does this set off a different set of chain reactions where you're not
everything, man? And none of it would I change for a minute.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Good, bad, ugly. You know, it's all. It's fucking life, man, and we all live it. You know, like.
But you found something. You said earlier. You said music is life.
Music,
but you wouldn't have found that life without this other human being.
Absolutely, man, and
pushing
just
you.
The hard times and rough childhood too. You know, I had that. I can relate with you, man. My old man wasn't around, and you know, like, I had to learn how to be a man on my own and take care of business, which is a blessing and a curse. You know, like you take the good with the bad.
I'm gonna grab a beer.
No, I'm good. Because I got one right here. I'll grab one. Yeah, music is some magical shit, dude.
Okay, so you're hanging out with this dude. He starts pushing you. Dude,
Yep.
what happened? Did you go see a local show?
Yeah,
Because you said
yeah.
you mentioned you seen the new metal thing coming around, and you're like, man, half these guys can't sing.
Yep.
I mentioned half of them can't rap.
Right.
But where did the motivation come from? Did it come from going and seeing local bands?
Yeah, I went to. So after, so he tells me, "Yo, you gotta do something with this." So I decide to bust my ass summer job, make that money so I can buy myself a microphone and a little box, start singing along with everything I got, and finally I'm like, yo, I'm
Shout out to Zach Boyd, Cool Story Creative.
So I started going out and checking out some local bands like Straight Jacket and American Head Charge. Them are some of the first shows I went to.
So you went and seen good bands.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, because this was my follow-up question was, when you get inspired to do music on the local scene, it distills down to kind of two motivations. Either you end up going to a show and you see a shitty band with a big crowd and you're like, man, if these guys can do it,
Right.
I can definitely do this shit. Or you see a great band with a great crowd and you're like, dude, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
So for you, it was the latter.
And fortunate, like the time was what it was, because, the scene isn't as hot as it used to be, I mean, we're fortunate enough to still draw really. I mean, shit, we were. I haven't played in
Do you remember
almost
our
a year,
bet?
But
Do you remember our bet?
I don't. What was it?
I love it. I love it. This is one of my favorite Vince moments of all time.
I don't remember the bet.
Now, when I say this story, you're going to feel inclined to interrupt.
Oh, boy.
And you're going to feel inclined to attack yourself and be like, oh, I was young and I was arrogant.
All right.
I'm jumping in front of that before I tell the story.
Okay.
You were not arrogant, because the definition of arrogance is the definition of arrogance is overestimating your self-worth. Okay? So if you say I'm the shit and you are the shit, that's not being arrogant. Maybe you're a little cocky, maybe you're kind of a douchebag about it, but that's not being arrogant.
Right.
Being arrogant is when you go, I'm the shit, and you're literally like the worst dude in the room at whatever you do.
Right.
Like everyone here is better than you, and you're acting like you're number one. That's being arrogant. So here's my point. Here's what you did. You told me you were going to play a show. It was I think it was Christmas Eve. It was a weird holiday show.
Oh, boy. I can think of a couple weird holiday
And I remember
shows
we were
played.
standing at Star Central. I ran into you in the lobby, and you were passing out flyers. I was passing out flyers.
All right.
And I think I had gotten on the New Year's Eve show, and you were doing like either Christmas you were
Eve.
either doing the 23rd, 24th, or 25th.
Yeah.
I think it was Christmas Eve, but it could have been the night before Christmas Eve.
Fuck.
I know
what show you're talking about.
It was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That's what it was. It was a Wednesday night before Thanksgiving.
Which is a good date, actually.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
And I didn't respect your band and your pull, because I was new and I was arrogant.
See, now
I overestimated my understanding of the business and the scene and how shit really worked.
Right.
So you had a loyal fan base.
Yep, still
You
do.
made a smart business decision by
still
jumping on the Wednesday night show before Thanksgiving. That's what it was.
Okay.
And I went, dude, you're playing a Wednesday night. You're a Friday, Saturday night headlining band. Why would you ever play Wednesday night? And you looked at me and you go, motherfucker, listen to me. I will get 500 fucking people in this room on a Wednesday night, bitch. And I go, really? And I go, really? Because you remember me back then. I go, really? And you go, dude, what do you want to bet right now? What do you want to bet? And I think we bet a round of beers for the band.
Okay.
Right? And if you lost, if you lost, you were going to come to my show and you owed me my band a round of beers, even though we were all underage. So I don't know how we were going to, you weren't underage, we were.
Yep.
Because you're only a couple years older than me, but we were 21. So I don't know how we were going to actually execute this. But motherfucker, I show up on Wednesday night. You drew 800 people.
Yeah, probably.
And I remember showing up on a Wednesday night at Star Central, but it wasn't super strong.
Yep.
Only certain bands were able to draw.
Right.
The good bands that sounded good. And I'm not, when I say good, like, okay, there might be a couple fucking dickheads listening. You may not like Nuisance Crew and the music they create, but they were a great band. They were tight. Your drummer, JD, was phenomenal.
We practiced our asses out. That's the thing that, like, people can be like, yo, whatever. But, dude, we would do 3 nights a week. 3 hours a session, 3 nights a week, man. I haven't done that in any band since. Like, I'm lucky if we get together once a week.
Dude, I mean, bro, give me,
you know.
Here's the thing. Guess what? I won't be in a band unless you're willing to do 3 nights a week.
Yeah.
You want to know? If people want to know, oh, Jared, you think you're so fucking great? How come you're not in all these bands? That's why. That's fucking why. Because if you want to be what we're talking about being when we were all in our prime, you were rehearsing a minimum of 3 nights a week for how many hours?
3 hours.
Thank you. 3 hours a night for 3 fucking hours or 3 nights a week. Minimum. Minimum. And when I get into a band and they're like, I'm like, so how often do you rehearse? And they go, Wednesday nights. And I go, that's it? Where do you rehearse? My drummer's basement. I'm out.
Yeah, I mean,
because you're already, and I don't see. And
times have changed.
This is where I become a dick about it, though. For me, times haven't changed because there's a reason you were that good.
Right.
And there's a reason,
but you
got that good.
Well, there's a reason why I still am that good is because I put in the time, whether or not it's band practice 3 nights a week or hours on my own.
But most of these guys haven't. Almost none of them have.
Right.
And even if you did 10 years ago, you haven't stayed consistent. So here's what I'm running into. I run into pros,
all right,
and I bring them into the same room with me, and they're fucking parts up. And I'm like, dude, that's not right. And they're like, yeah, it is. And I go, no, look, watch. And they're like, oh my fucking God, I didn't even realize that.
Damn.
This is what happens in rehearsals that don't happen. So you can't, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the proverbial you. Like, you can't get that good without rehearsing. Now, maybe if you're a pro and you're almost 40 years old like we are, and you put in 10 to 15 years of that work, you have the ability to do that at home
for a living. Where you're, I mean, come on, dude.
Then you can
imagine
but
how
most
good
guys haven't even gotten to that point yet.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about a new generation, the Zoomers.
Here's
an
interesting. Here's a little something to think about.
They write it all in iTunes and send it back and forth, and then they show up and play a show together. Like, y'all are sloppy as fuck.
Right. No, I was listening to Macklemore, and not his music, but he was on some talk show or whatever, and like he's all right, you know. I guess I actually
like him.
Yeah, he's a smart dude, and
I respect him.
Yeah, I got respect for him, but I can't say I love his music. Like, it just never really has done anything for me. I
like Thrift Shop a lot. Thrift Shop was
at first, but it got played out. You know, like
is that his fault?
No, absolutely not, and good for him. You know, and actually, like the DJ in Nuisance, he did some stuff with some hip hop artists, and he played a show with Macklemore and ate lunch with him, said he was one of the coolest fucking dudes ever. So nothing but love for Macklemore. I'm not dogging it. It's just never been really my full cup of tea, but very smart dude. And he was talking about his 10,000 hours theory, that basically in order to be, you know, a fucking pro, real good at what you do, LeBron James type of caliber athlete, you know, or Michael Jordan, whatever, you know, just being modern, you got to put in that 10,000 hours.
And not only do you got to put in that 10,000 hours, you got to put in 10,000 methodical hours that are intentional and deliberate. So a lot of motherfuckers just think if they just do 10,000 hours of meaningless reps, they're magically going to get better. And because I'm part of a Reddit group, there's a Reddit sub that is specifically dedicated to the 10,000 hours theory.
Oh, all right.
And how
you've heard it before, and I talk to a lot of people about it, and they're like, really? And then they start thinking about it like, yo,
it's not even his theory. It's I think it comes from Malcolm Gladwell in a book called Outliers.
Okay.
I think that's where the theory originally came from, and it might not even be his theory. It might have come from somebody else.
Does it really matter if the chicken came before the fucking egg or whatever?
I mean, it doesn't, but I guess is what I'm getting at.
It's a theory that I think I kind of believe in.
I do too, and it's a working theory that I think I agree with, but I also think needs to be added to, which is not just 10,000 hours of random reps. 10,000 hours of you concentrating on improvement.
But a certain person might take that 10,000 hours better than you. You know, like if we're talking about basketball, is fucking 6'8" and fucking 250 pounds. Like, of course, he's going to be better with his 10,000 hours.
Unless he's just doing blind reps. If I'm doing 10,000 hours of meaningful improvement,
Sure.
I guarantee you I will end up a better overall basketball player than a guy who's more athletically superior and is doing 10,000 hours of meaningless reps. 100%. I bet my life on that one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's all I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing with anything you just said. I'm just adding to it.
Yeah.
Because in this subreddit, that's what the debate is always going through. They're like, listen, man, I've been coding for 12 years at 40 hours a week, sometimes 50. I'm doing the math here. I'm at like 30,000 hours and I haven't gotten any better. And they're like, dude, because you're not being meaningful. Like, you're not looking while you're working. You're not thinking about ways to improve. You're just doing the work, assuming you're going to get better. You're acting like a robot.
Right.
You're not acting like somebody who's trying, like a Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan never did anything without trying to make himself better.
Right.
That's the difference, man.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you.
No.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to add that in because I think a lot of people misunderstand that 10,000 hours concept.
Well, and that's the other part about it is you can't be set on. You feel free to add to all this. You know, I'm never set in my decision. I'm open to whoever. You know, there's always things that every single musician and every person.
But I do agree. I do agree also though with what you said too. Though it's like, dude. All right. If you're 112 pounds, you're 5'7", you have asthma.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you put in 100,000 hours.
Right.
You're not making it to the NBA.
Yeah, probably not.
You don't have the physical abilities.
Yep.
And I used to say that about myself. I wish somebody would.
But that's what's cool about music is you could be whatever. You know,
unless you suck.
But I think even if someone sucked and put in 10,000 hours, they'd be all right. They'd be able to pass.
I just wish one of y'all would have told me how bad of a singer I was.
I actually thought you were pretty fucking good, dude.
I was a good front man.
Well, that's all I've ever been, bro. You know,
you're a better singer than I am.
Well, it's fucking 22 years of practice. I better be all right at it. You know.
Well, if I would have kept going this long, you'd probably only have 4 or 5 years on me. So it's not a matter of time on that. It's the natural ability thing. Like,
yeah, but you were always a better. You were
singer.
A great screamer. You know, like, true. So look at Lamb of God. Look at, I mean, that is true. You know, so there you go, man. I mean, I
just got sick of that music.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, dude. It's tough. You know, I think the heaviest shit I listen to nowadays is like Deftones, you know.
I'm still in love with Misery Signals, but that's about it.
Okay.
That's the only band.
Look into that a little more.
They're the only band
I was listening to After the Burial today, and you know, that's
But
dope.
They even started singing.
Dope, but it's like too much for my old ass, you know?
Yeah, Lamb of God and Misery Signals are the only bands I can say predominantly scream that I actually still enjoy. Those two bands. Anybody else who predominantly screams. Yeah, but even they switch to a lot of singing.
Well, he's got a great fucking voice.
50-50.
Why hate on him?
I'm not. I'm just saying bands that predominantly scream, there's 2 of them left that I actually like. Killswitch Engage.
Yeah.
Every other band we could possibly list
have you ever met any of the
Killswitch
dudes?
No.
So I've hung out with Adam multiple times, and he's more of a friend of a friend, but I've had the privilege of getting to know him. And dude, like, could anyone be more of a cool motherfucker than that dude?
Really?
Oh my God. Just so down to earth. We went to the Twins game with him. My bassist Shags.
You were at that game?
Yeah. Yep.
He was on TV for that.
Yeah. So that was.
Were you sitting with him?
Yeah. Yep.
Dude. Oh my God. Because I've seen that clip. I should pull that clip up.
He makes it a point. He may have been to all of them now at this point.
I'm sure he has.
But he was missing the Target Field, and he was missing, I want to say, like the Rangers, Texas Rangers Stadium.
I feel so bad right now, bro, because I know the clip of him at Target Field. It got put on the Megatron. It made the news. And I got so distracted by the fact that Adam D was on at the Twins game. I didn't even look next to him and see anybody else.
I was right behind him.
Were you?
Yep.
I feel such like an asshole right now.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. But
that's not a diminishment on you.
And then I'm
just such a fan of him.
Absolutely. And then we went drinking at the bar till 2 a.m, and you know that was one of the occasions we hung out with him at Michigan. I mean, we played a show. Dirt Fest in Michigan, some side, you know, stage 27 in the back corner by the Biffies. And we're back there playing, and we're like the whole ride out there like, yo, this is the break, man. This is the big festival. This shit gets crazy, dude. Man, we played in front of like 35 people, drove halfway across. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Drove our bus out there, and it was just like, yo, really? But out in the crowd at the soundboard, there's fucking Adam D. And right in the front row is Sid Wilson from Slipknot. So I'm sitting there like, yo, this ain't so bad, man. I mean, fucking, so what? There's 35 people, but two of them are in two of the biggest fucking bands in the world, man. And we played that show, and we hung out with Adam all fucking night. He dates a really good friend of ours. And just such a nice, down-to-earth dude. It's ridiculous. And super sports enthusiast, pizza sports, and fucking beer.
So it sounds like he should go get a job at Barstool.
Yeah, or Surly, or, whatever. So, he's just, I don't know, man. Sometimes when you meet some of these dudes you really look up to, you're like, yo, you deserve every fucking thing. And I see why you got it, man. Good attitude and just
the talent, the work ethic.
Yeah, the work ethic.
It's funny because you bring up Adam D, and Adam D, like in his own documentaries with Killswitch, Howard and some of the other band members have talked about how quote unquote difficult he is to work with. But for me, I've been accused of being difficult to work with, and I've worked
really
with people
talented and very much a perfectionist.
There you go, a professional. Like no, guys, we can do better. Like and that's what a producer's job is to push the band to get the best out of them, like a head coach. A head coach is his job is to get the best out of his players by putting them in great positions, and that's what a producer does. And when your own band member is your own producer, you might not see the vision. You might be too close. You can't see the forest for the trees, guys. So he's not difficult. He's not an asshole.
No.
He's just awesome. And you guys are trying to keep up
to his ability.
Yeah, exactly.
And
dude, exactly.
Like, so we played that show in Michigan and hung out with him all night. And he's like, "Yeah, dude, we're playing in Illinois tomorrow at an arena. Like, you guys want to open?" And we're like, "Fuck yeah!" Well, we ended up not being able to because we had a roadie throwing a shit fit. He had to be back, and we're just like, "Yo, take a bus, whatever,
dude. Call someone else."
And then I was like, "Nah, man, let's take a rain check. We'll get that opportunity again somewhere down the line." Never happened, man. And it broke my heart. And we've hung out with them a couple times since, but they don't always get the call on like, "Oh yeah, can we have our buddies open up the show?"
Exactly. That's a business thing on the end that people don't understand.
Up. And we were managed by Sid from Slipknot at the time. And like when he found out about that, like he was really pissed. He's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing, bro?" And rightfully so, man. And looking back on it, I'm like, God damn, like, we did a tour with OTEP, and like we had done many shows with Head PE and like just different bands like that, but nothing relevant and like super dope like Killswitch Engage. I mean, so I've been fortunate. I watched
no disrespect to those other bands, but Killswitch for a period of time was the it band.
Absolutely,
it was like
they
them
still
and
are
As They
one of
Lay
the
Dying.
top, man. I mean, they were just touring with Iron Maiden for Christ's sakes.
They're probably the most well-respected metalcore band.
They're great dudes, and they're fucking great at what they do. So,
can you think of another band out of the metalcore genre that maintained as much equity and respect as they did?
No,
they're the only ones. They're the sole survivors.
Yep.
The sole survivor. The closest one you could come up with next would be All That Remains,
right? Oh, they blow All That Remains off stage. Sorry,
All That Remains is pretty dope, but their guitar player died.
They don't have the stage charisma, man. True. Adam on stage is a fucking animal, and truthfully, I'd met Adam multiple times before I'd ever watched Killswitch. It wasn't really my thing. And I checked out some tunes. Like he came out to our CD release party with his girlfriend who is friends of ours. And he was out there, and I kind of Googled, YouTubed it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, they're really good at what they do, but what they do is not really my thing, just cause I'm just not a diehard metal dude. Honestly, I hate to be that guy, but I seen him live then. Like we got,
don't apologize for that, by the way.
Yeah, well, we went to Knotfest out in Cali, and Adam's like, "Yo, you get up on stage." So we watched them on stage, in California, mountains in the background. And dude, they were so fucking good that I was like, how did I ever sleep on this, dude? Like, it's just like,
isn't it weird,
man?
Isn't it weird how sometimes that's all it takes is seeing them live, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Well, then I've
heard this music for 5 years.
I had the privilege of getting to know the dudes before playing with them or hearing them live on stage. And then, you know, just knowing that they're such cool dudes and then seeing them do their shit up there and just, you're like, oh my God, dude, fucking amazing. This is why I've always wanted to be that, you know, just good role models.
That's fucking cool,
Slipknot's
dude.
always cool ass dudes too. Super down to earth.
I've
Never
heard
had
that.
a bad run in. I mean, I've only talked with Corey twice, but quick, super quick.
I never
but
met any of the Slipknot dudes. I met Joey Jordison's sister one night, and she actually said we were really good.
Yep.
And she said, she's like, my brother's going to be down here. You should meet him soon.
Yep.
We were in Iowa. We were playing a show.
Yep.
And I think he did end up showing up, and I just could not find an organic way of talking to him without being weird.
Yeah.
Like, and it was I know that his sister, I was just talking to her because she approached us. Like, I walked up to talk to somebody else, and I was like, hey man, thanks for having us. And she was like, hey man, you guys are really good.
Right.
My brother's coming down. You should talk to him. You should meet him.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, thank you.
He probably would have been all about it.
And then I just went about my conversation with this dude.
Yeah.
And then somebody else walked up and they were like, dude, do you realize who that is? I'm like, no. And they're like, that's Joey Jordison's sister. I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. We're gonna meet Joey later then, because it, you know, I explained it to them. And then it just, as soon as he showed up, yeah, he did that. Now that I'm thinking about it, he definitely showed up, because as soon as he showed up, all hell broke loose. And it was like,
yeah,
I felt bad for the headlining band, because he showed up to see the headlining band, and 50% of the crowd wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
they were trying to pay attention to him.
Yep.
And I just refused, because it was like, I get it. I have this little inside ticket.
Yep.
And this is the time to use it. Kind of like what you were talking about earlier.
Yep.
But I was like, dude, this shit is not the right time.
Right.
Like, this dude is being hounded by everyone, by real fans of his band.
Yep.
The last thing he wants to do
he
is be like, hey man, my your sister said we should hang out.
Right. Yeah, that's tricky, dude. It's tricky, man. I mean,
yeah, that was Solace and Ashes.
Okay. Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
With Sid, it was, I mean, more of like, well, shit, I remember playing in Iowa with Smack Dab, and I forget who else was on the bill, but then all of a sudden, Slipknot shows up, and the only reason I knew we were on stage. I looked out, and it was this huge venue, decent crowd, but it was like it was a weird night, like Thursday or something. Big ass crowd actually we were like, holy shit, for a Thursday, this is packed, bunch of local bands and whatever. And I look out into the crowd, and all of a sudden I see a bunch of attractive chicks, and we're like, yo, in Iowa, like, because back then it wasn't like that. Now, you know, Iowa's pretty hot happening and shit,
dude.
Well, there were a bunch of strippers.
Gorgeous.
There was a bunch of strippers there, and they, like, you could tell because they were just wearing
smoking hot.
Yep, and just wearing nothing. And I'm looking at the dudes, and I'm like, yo, they just look like a bunch of ratty rockers, you know. Fucking leather coats and scraggly hair.
That's
and shit,
exactly
dude.
what they were.
And fucking sure enough, man, everyone's like, yo, Slipknot's here. They watched you guys. They didn't say shit. You know, we were probably not heavy enough or whatever. They were probably like, man, we're fucking 100 times better than these dudes, which they were. But, you know, so fast forward years down the road, and we did a First Ave main stage, and Sid was like co-headliner or something. And he hung out with us all night, fucking watched it, loved it, had a lot of real good suggestions on how to make it better. Gave me some of the best compliments any rock star ever has, you know, just like building me up, like, yo, you got that Corey Taylor syndrome, you know, just kind of more on the less of front man syndrome, you know, and just like, he's like, yo, you throw down up there. Like,
you did though, man. And I don't want to interrupt you, but this is a good spot for me to say, because I wanted to segue into this at some point. This is a big part of having you on the podcast, is like, as a front man early in my career, you were really the only local front man, not singer. Because like, dude, when we're talking singers, like, everyone was better than us, right?
For sure.
But because who are we hanging out with, right? You had, what's his name from Stasia? Phenomenal singer.
Yeah, Alex.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
A fucking great songwriter. Right? Yeah, you had Cam from Head Charge.
But Cam was always
Amanda
cool to me
was
too,
in,
man. He always,
Ginger Jake. Like, we had some beautiful singers, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Skywine,
Wally, of course.
Align.
Now, some of these guys were also great frontmen.
Yeah.
But most of the scene wasn't good at either.
No, they didn't bring the energy like the Nuisance crews and the, you know, like, I felt like we always projected that, which was kind of blessing and a curse, man, because you looked at bands back then, like, you know, very few of them could freak out on stage and sound good. Like, you know, I remember seeing the Deftones as a kid and just thinking, like, great show, but man, that sounded like shit, you know, just because he was out of breath. And
you and I have a different mindset, though, because you and I look at bands like, and I'm assuming you throw Metallica in this category because they used to perform like that.
Yeah,
Slipknot is a band like that.
First time I saw Slipknot, I was like, what the fuck was that?
And they're playing their instruments while throwing down.
Yeah, I'm like, train wreck. And then I was like, yo, but I was so intrigued by what the fuck I seen that I was like, yo, I got to figure this out more.
Right.
You know, like there's so much going on, dude.
For me, it became, for me, I immediately, and this is why I asked earlier about the sports thing, because immediately I went, I played my first show, my very first show. It was like 17 people at the Enigma Center. I don't even remember where the Enigma Center was. I think it was in Shakopee. It was like the baby sister club.
I don't think I ever played that one.
It was like the baby sister club of the Garage.
Okay.
So they had the Garage's old sound system when the Garage upgraded.
Yeah, I played the Elk River Emporium.
That was your first show?
That was my first show, and it sucked. It was horrible. We had all sorts of fucking sound failures, like all sorts, technical difficulties. We ended up playing like a song or two in front of 10 people, you know, and we'd worked our fucking asses off to get there. Like, it was a big fucking deal. And we're just like, God damn, man. Actually, you know, that might have been my first show with Nuisance Crew. So not my first show ever, but first one.
First shows don't count as high school things, like the high school talent shows and shit. That's not a show.
Yep. No,
you know that.
Yeah, and I'd done some like coffee shop shit with a smaller band. You know, I was
but like a real show with a real PA,
with a real band. You know, bassist got tattoos. You know, this is 90 fucking 9.
Well, like you got real instruments.
Yeah,
and shit.
real
You're
instruments, real gear. I got JD playing. You know, like a dude who's been playing. You know, and the bassist was Lance Sakura, and like. We had all these dudes that have been playing their whole lives, you know, and there's 19-year-old me, like, fucking looking at...
That's exactly what I was
27-year-old fucking bassist.
I was in the exact same scenario.
Yep. But we failed miserably, dude. First show, fucking belly flop.
That's why everyone hated us, because we
just didn't. Face, you know, like, and I'm like, yo, that was not our first show. A, that was a practice. B, our first show is next month. Like, let's fucking... This has got to be the way we start this shit off.
That's why everyone hated us, because we did the exact opposite. Like,
so we did 2 shows at the Red Sea. We did an all ages show and a 21 plus, and we fucking sold out both of them, jam packed. And then it was like, all right, it's on, dude. Now it's time, you know. Like, and we just, you know, we were kind of on that Head P, Limp Bizkit, Korn type of Deftones
so was my first band, 7 months
of
nothing. Yep.
And honestly, like, there's still a lot of that in Nuisance, but you can't deny. It ain't even deny. It's more like, I guess the thing I hate the most about metal and the metal scene is the fact of all these genres inside of a subgenre. Like, the majority of the United States does not listen to heavy metal. You take the percentage of the United States or the world that listens to heavy metal. Well, you got 2% of the fucking world listens to heavy metal, and out of that 2%, you have fucking at least 60% of them hate new metal. You know, that's fucking 80s butt rock now. You know what I mean? And then you got it's even worse, right?
I put butt rock above new metal.
But would you put? Yeah, you might, but I don't know that I mean, maybe I could put Guns N' Roses ahead of Slipknot in my book. And are the Deftones new metal? Because if that's the case, fuck off.
I don't know.
No one's better than the Deftones.
Slipknot will legitimately be in the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So I'm not counting them. I'm counting the Limp Bizkits. Like the Trapped. Yeah. You know, Trapped. Those other the genre.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I liked the first Limp Bizkit album, but I went to shit right after that. Like, I didn't even like Significant Other. Like, I like it. And then I don't even know what their third Hot Dog was. That the Hot Dog flavored water or whatever the fuck that was called.
I don't fucking remember.
Yeah, I don't know. So I
only
fell
pretended to like that band to try to get pussy because girls like that band.
Their first album was revolutionary in its own sense, man. I mean, there was some heavy shit. It was like a souped up Rage Against the Machine, and there were some shitty tunes, but there's a couple on there that are still kind of bangers, man. Counterfeit is not a horrible tune.
I mean, dude, I liked Faith.
I didn't like that one.
I like that cover of
Stuck.
Faith.
There was a song called Stuck that had a dope bass line. Like, and Wes Borland's fucking great guitarist.
We talked about covers earlier. I think that was a cool way to do that cover.
And they did a lot for the whole world, metal world by doing that. And now, I'd say Limp Bizkit is pretty equivalent to like a Five Finger Death Punch.
You know what's funny?
What I mean?
As we said earlier, like, did anybody come out of the metalcore deal with more equity and respect than Killswitch Engage? No. The answer is no.
Right.
Did anybody come out of the nu metal genre with any less respect than Limp Bizkit? The answer is no.
But they still play the myth and sell it out.
I'm not.
You know what I mean?
We're not talking accolades. We're talking how much respect and
Right.
equity do
Right.
they have now?
Give it
Limp
a little
Bizkit,
more time.
0.
I could see people coming back around, man, because
like they did with Butt Rock and Bon Jovi.
Yeah. When Sid was managing us, he was real good friends with MGK and the rapper MGK, and MGK had my disc. I wish
How do you
I still
feel
had
about
the
MGK,
picture.
by the way?
I don't dislike it.
He seems like a really fucking cool dude that I want to hang out with.
He's a talented dude. I've hung out with him. Very nice fucking dude.
Here's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Here's what I'm saying. Like, I've seen that dude on a bunch of behind the scenes interviews and legitimate interviews, like Hot Ones and ridiculousness.
Right.
Here's the thing. Like, honestly, I would probably, if that dude was my friend, he would probably be one of my best friends.
Right.
But when I listen to his music, there's a certain level of a type of cheese that I can't get past, and I would have to have this conversation with him, like, as my friend, like, listen, dude, like, you're awesome, your charisma is amazing, you're a great performer, you're a great musician, but the music you're writing, no matter how good it is, every time there's something in it that lacks the difference between you where you're at and jumping to that next level.
Or in my opinion, the difference between him and Yellow Wolf. Like, there's shit in Yellow Wolf.
I don't really know anything about that dude.
Okay, so there's
Can we
shit
pick a bigger rapper?
Well,
like an Eminem or a Tupac or a,
I mean, I guess I would
shit,
say
even a Biggie?
MGK is bigger than Yellow Wolf, but I don't know that I would really believe that in my heart, man, because I think Yellow Wolf's he's got more of a cult following, and he's more true to his sound.
I have a hard time taking anyone seriously with the name Yellow Wolf.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like band names, like when you put your band name is like
Korn.
engulfed in the trenches.
Korn.
It's like, okay, no, I'm saying if your band name is engulfed in the trenches, it's like, okay, so you're what, a fucking death metal band? Like, okay, cool. Like it's just so gimmicky from the beginning. Like, I just, it's so. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's why I actually liked it when you shortened it to Nuisance, because Nuisance Crew was such a nu metal gimmicky name.
Yeah.
When you dropped it to Nuisance, it was like, oh, this actually makes more sense.
Punk, could be,
and it made more sense because Nuisance Crew is like, we're a bunch of brats. Motley Crue.
Well, and even Nuisance is bratty.
And I'm not mocking you.
No, I agree. Like,
you know what I'm saying,
dude.
We're old friends.
30,
you know exactly.
30-year-old us. We're like, yo, Nuisance. Should we just rename this because it's so adolescent? But that's kind of it's what it's always been. So why you can't change what everyone knows, you know?
It was a smart reband. It really was.
Yep.
You slight changing of branding.
Yep, slight changing
Just
of
drop
branding.
the crew.
Yep, drop the crew. And, honestly, I'd say we probably did bigger things as Nuisance than we did as Nuisance Crew.
And no one called you Nuisance Crew after a while.
Yeah. I mean,
you were Nuisance Crew, but nobody said Nuisance Crew in
Right.
full. Everyone
Right.
was just like, you going to the Nuisance show?
Right.
So you didn't even change your name. You just shortened it to what people said.
Yeah.
And you sounded, with your name, immediately sounded less nu metal, which is smart for branding because you evolved past nu metal musically as well.
Yep.
You guys started getting into a lot of syncopated, almost metalcore style. And then you immediately got out of that. It's been a cool evolution.
Yeah.
To watch your career.
Dude, if you talk to each dude in the band, like, we all have such different musical tastes. I mean, a lot of us like the same shit, like we like our Meshuggah, and, fucking them dudes are obsessed with After the Burial and Meshuggah mainly, and I'm more on a rap level, but I to me it's just
and I'm in none of those boats.
and fucking Johnny Cash,
I'm in such a weird musical
I like my Hank Williams, I like that old school country shit. I like everything, man. I literally switch it up so damn much. But yeah, I mean, just to take a band of dudes that like different styles of metal, that when they do listen to metal, and just kind of meld it into a melting pot of shit you like from, little piece here, little piece there. But yeah, man, I fucking Deftones, dude. You hear that new album?
No, I'm not a Deftones fan.
No, my
Never
God.
have been.
I
liked White Pony a little bit because it was very artistic.
Yeah, dude.
I really
liked
liked
a banger.
I really liked the artisan level of craftsmanship on White Pony.
Yeah.
But I'm just not a I'm not a Deftones fan.
Is it the vocals that do it for you?
No, it's just the overall vibe.
Okay.
It feels very the whole thing. This is the thing about them. So I have synesthesia. You know what synesthesia is?
Yep.
Okay, so I see colors, right?
Yep.
So the color I dislike the most is in music. When I listen to music, the color that is most displeasing to me when I hear music is white.
Okay.
Okay, white is not a good sound.
Okay.
Now, when I listen to any Deftones,
that's what you see.
It's very digital and it's crystalline and it's very refractive and it's very bright and very
which is
white.
funny because they have Digital Bath, which is a song. You just use the word digital, and they have White Pony, which you know.
Interesting.
What I mean?
And White
so
Pony,
maybe they're
White Pony,
picking up on your vibe.
And White Pony is the least white album they have. There's
a
lot
the
of
new
when
one,
I listen to that, there's a lot of blues.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of there's a lot of whites
Diamond
in there.
Eyes is a great album, man.
But I'll have to check it out. And here's the thing. We talked about this earlier. You were like, and I just slept on them, and I was like, for me, I describe it as I'm just not ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another one. The Eagles.
Yep.
Just started liking them.
Okay.
Not only did I just start liking them,
we're talking
went from disliking them greatly to I found them annoying.
Yeah.
Outside of Hotel California.
Yeah, that's great
outside of that song, I found them annoying.
I guess I don't know. Yeah.
All of it annoying.
Right.
Then all of a sudden one day, it comes on my iTunes, and I'm like, I love this song. I've known this song for 30 years. I'm just now in the right place emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and musically to appreciate holy fuck what the Eagles were doing.
Maybe I haven't gotten there yet with the Eagles.
And that's what I'm saying. I haven't gotten there yet with the Deftones. Right. So I've learned through my arrogance, right, of dismissing bands too early to go, you know what? I'm not into them now.
Right.
But guess what? 5-10 years from now, I might come back and go, you guys were all right. Because guess what? If you were an Eagles fan, you were right.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, that's all I'm saying. But let me back up here. I want to get into something. So you and I met young in our careers, and we kind of touched on this, and then I feel like we kind of like went to the present, right? And I want to play a little catch up because obviously, I hope you're having a good time. I'm having a good time, and we're not going to get to everything. So clearly, I want to have you on again so we can get to everything, and then eventually just talk about whatever we want.
Or get some live shit on music.
But there is some cool shit I want to talk to you about because when I was a young man, and when I say young, most people don't realize how young I was when I came on the scene. Y'all were already 22, 23, 24 years old. I was 17.
Right. I remember that.
I was literally in high school.
I remember that.
So y'all motherfuckers had to wake up and go to work.
Yep.
And the reason you liked me is because I still had to wake up and go do shit.
Right.
Only the difference was I had to go to school.
Right.
But y'all respected me because you seen the same work ethic in a teenage boy as yourselves as grown men. And as a frontman and as an entertainer, I came out of the gate like somebody shot me out of the cannon. There was nobody on my level from the first day I stepped on that stage until Joe Spanbauer booked us with you. And I think he, in his strategic genius, saw what I was doing and went, they need to open for Nuisance. Yeah. Jared has to see Vince. And I remember standing there at the very first show I ever seen you perform. And it was the very first time I was on the local scene and seen another musician at any instrument go, oh, I have a lot of work to do. And I mentioned this earlier. After that first show at the Enigma Center that I performed, I went, oh, I have to treat this like football. Okay. Like this isn't a strength thing.
Right.
This is about conditioning. Yeah. This is about discipline.
Yeah.
This is about conserving energy. Mm-hmm. And then, so I had that Enigma show. and then I opened for you, and then like.
And where was it? At the Urban?
Probably, or Star Central, maybe last minute at Star Central. Joe tested us hard. So our first show with Joe was a last minute 2-day fill-in in one of his Battle of the Bands, and we upset in the second round and made it to the finals.
Was that at the Star Bar? Or what was that?
But before any of that happened,
was this Dying Euphoria at this time?
No, this was 7 months of nothing. We're talking 15 years ago.
Right.
But before any of that happened, right? We did that first show and that second show and then lost at the battle. But before Joe would take us seriously, he continued like 3-4 more shows. He tested us last minute.
So
we opened up for
one
of them was we opened up last minute. It was us, then you, and then Quasar.
Yeah.
On a Friday night with 3 days notice at the Urban Wildlife.
Yeah, I remember.
And
that show.
None of us drew. Except for Quasar.
Yep.
Like I played empty crowd.
Yep.
You guys played 30 people.
Yep.
Quasar showed up.
I think
sold
out. Only played the Urban once.
Then it would have been that show.
One time.
Then it would have been that show.
And half my band was tripping on mushrooms or something.
Yep.
It was a weird one.
But it was interesting because because of music stylistics and because of our similarity and our personalities, which was being, some people would say obnoxious. I would say gregarious and intense. So we understood that our footprint is 3 by 3.
Yeah.
3 foot by 3 foot. However, we have to command a 30 by 30 square foot.
Right.
Which goes into the audience.
Right.
If you understand, hopefully people understand. You're standing in this spot, but you have to own this spot.
Yeah.
Like you own a dot, but you have to own a square. It's not an easy thing to do. You have to believe in yourself. You have to truly brainwash yourself. This is what I had to do because I was so insecure that I had to believe that no, I am the next big thing.
Yeah.
And they just don't know it yet. And we're talking my first dozen shows I had to do this.
Right.
Including being thrown to the wolves, opening for a band like yours, with a front man like you who'd already been doing it for a while. You were opening for Head Charge at First Avenue by the time I showed up.
Yeah.
Like you were killing it. You were one of those top tier. I looked at everything like a pyramid, right? There's like Head Charge and that huge group, and then there's that second tier, which is where you and everyone else were, and then there was another tier, and then there was us, and we were way down here, and all I was focused on is how do I get to this next tier,
right,
and then once I got to that tier is how do I get to the nuisance tier,
right,
you know, and the Ginger Drake tier, and the Stasia tier, and the fucking those bands,
Blackfoot Diesel,
Revelance,
Crutch, and
Revelance, exactly. Ginger Drake was technically the second version of Two Ton, but nonetheless. And then the dream was once you get to that top tier, the world is yours.
Right.
Like you get your chance to work with a hypothetical Rick Rubin like Head Charge does. Now, I also understood that as soon as you make it to that tier, you are now at the bottom tier of the national level.
Right.
And you are just a smaller fish in an even bigger pond.
Yes, sir.
I understood all of this at 16, 17 years old.
Yep.
So when Joe threw me to the wolves and I seen you, and I had already went through that fucking physical thing, so I did the Enigma show and I went, oh, I have to physically work and get into condition like I was in football. So we're talking 2-a-days. We're talking like putting my body in obnoxious scenarios. I started going to rehearsal and jumping around and acting like an asshole, fucking with my band members during rehearsal. Because I go, no. Here's the thing. Someday a fan's going to jump on stage and push you.
Right.
If you can't deal with me pushing you in rehearsal and fucking up your riff, because you mentioned this earlier. I'm going to tie this back to what you said. You said going nuts and keeping the sound good.
We would practice
as if
it was a show.
Thank you.
Every single time, throw the fuck down. There could be no one at practice. There could be 2 people at practice. There could be a party at practice. But it was always fucking throw the fuck down. And like, I still find that to be helpful.
So what was the motivation behind that? Because I've kind of seeded, and I'll just finish wrapping up my rant and then let you finish answering this question. So I did it because I wanted to prepare for every possible variable that a show could throw at me. So examples.
I did it because I couldn't help it.
Okay. That was also part of me. I really love the music. But we had errors. We had like blunders at shows to where I went, okay, you have to practice. Like I remember one time I literally walked up and grabbed my guitar player's top E string and snapped it. And he looked at me and I went, your string broke. It's a show. Right. Figure out how to fix it. And I seen the light bulb go off and he wasn't even mad anymore. He was like, oh, got it. And so we were rehearsing, because this is the thing, is I don't go to practice.
Right.
I practice at home. I go to rehearsal. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had the same mindset, but for different motivations. And part of it was, yes, I just can't help it because I love the shit we're doing, right? But at the other time, it was like I did this Enigma show and I realized, oh, my body's not ready for this. This 45 minutes of pure intensity, screaming at the top of my lungs, running across the stage like a fucking madman. I'm physically not ready for this, dude.
Right.
And then I opened for you and I was like, oh, and I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, this dude's calculated. Like, he's got shit figured out. He knows.
Yeah, but you ended up getting there too. Like,
that's what I'm saying though. But I needed somebody else to work towards, and I seen these versions happen in front of me, go good and bad, and I went, "Oh, okay. Now I see what I should and shouldn't."
For me,
be doing.
I guess
that's what I'm asking for.
There was the tier of American Head Charge, you know, but they were always on another level, you know. So to me, it was always like, to be the best at what I can do, I need to compare myself to the Chinos and the fucking Zach De La Roja and the fucking, you know, Phil Anselmos and the whatever. And yeah, I never got that good, but that was the motivation. That was the dream. That was the goal, man. It's like being on the basketball court and you're fucking, you know, thinking of one-on-one with MJ or one-on-one, you know, like it was always the bigger picture of like, yeah, you could play basketball with the best kid at your high school, but it's still in your mind. You're like, yo, I'm going after fucking, you know what I mean? Like that was always, so once I got into music, it became, I wouldn't say a competition, but more of a competition with myself. Like, could I do that? Could I fucking,
I relate to that so
jump
much,
off a 30-foot speaker into the crowd? Fuck yeah, I could. Yeah, I did.
You
know
what
I mean?
I did that too, bro.
Just like, shit like that, or could I? I mean, fuck, dude. We played Rockfest 3 years ago, and it was fucking badass, dude. We belonged there. Like right after us, it was Beartooth or whatever they're called. I don't even really know them. I know they're on the radio and shit now, I guess. But like we had a similar crowd response, if not better, man. I was crowd surfing on inflatable pieces of pizza and shit. Like we owned that motherfucker and showed we belong there, you know. It's just times are different, and I don't know, man.
It's weird. You pop when you pop, dude. Lamb of God was a band for over 10 years before they popped.
Right.
And they played to 0 people for most of that 10 years.
Yep.
Cannibal Corpse, same exact story, actually. And those are heavier, less marketable, less palatable bands than what you're doing. So it'll happen when it happens.
Right.
I think is what we need to do in our generation. And this is what I'm trying to do with the podcast. And like, I'm trying to really try to wrap my head around this, is we need to understand how to market past the idea of only playing to live people. Because that's when we own the world, right? Guys like you and I. Right. Put me on a stage in front of 30,000 people and I'll be just as good as anybody, right?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. But here's the problem. We don't have that opportunity. So how do these other kids get from 0 to 30,000? Because there's kids that aren't as good as us on stage that have done more than us, and they're still not
having the right attitude, knowing the right person. You know, there's so many.
But the internet has a lot to do with it, bro.
The internet has a lot to do with it.
I think it's technology, man. We're not getting to 8 billion people properly.
Right.
We're ineffective.
Yep, and also the saying of like
you know what it
luck.
Is? We're not shooting our flare gun high enough.
You're like, oh, dude, I'm just waiting for my big break. You know, it's gonna happen. There's gonna be luck. You know, something good's gonna happen. Yeah, some good things are gonna happen. But if you ain't out putting yourself in the position to get lucky, you ain't getting lucky. You know, you can't fucking expect to win 100. You know, this is a bad example, but you can't expect to win a shitload of money if you don't ever gamble. Now, I don't gamble, and I don't plan on winning a shitload of money, but what I'm saying is, like,
you can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket.
Absolutely. And you can't make your own luck if you ain't playing the show on that Thursday night that fucking, I don't know, fucking Richard Simmons, or what the fuck is Richard Simmons? Yeah, Richard Simmons is that, man. He'll give you your big break.
Here's the thing, dude. Dude, my sweater. Look at this.
Oh, you caught up, bro.
Here's the thing. I do believe in bad luck because some bad shit can happen.
Hell yeah,
but I
and
don't.
it has, and
but
it
I
will.
don't believe in good luck.
Right.
Good luck is merely preparation for opportunity. Okay. When an opportunity comes along and you're not able to take advantage of it, that sucks.
Yeah.
But when an opportunity comes along and you are able to take advantage of it,
right,
that's not luck,
right,
because you were prepared for that opportunity.
Yeah,
but I do believe in bad
in
luck
though.
because people do get shot in drive-bys.
Oh,
like
sure. Yeah,
an innocent 3-year-old little kid sitting on the
there
couch
is good
watching
luck
TV
too,
get
man.
shot in the head in a drive-by. That's bad luck.
There's good luck too, man.
I don't believe it.
I don't know.
Preparation for opportunity.
My son is always blowing my mind with luck. Like he'll be like, example, play soccer all year with a bunch of kids who've been playing since they were fucking, tiny. Doesn't kick the ball, doesn't touch the ball all season long, right? He says, I'm going to tell grandma that you got her cup. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, I'm going to return the cup tomorrow. I just needed a cup of coffee to go or whatever, I'm like, why are you trying to blackmail? He's like, give me and he's literally like 6 at this time, and he's like, give me $10 and I won't tell her. I'm like, dude, that's blackmail. Like, you can't blackmail your dad. I'm like, and I'll put the cup back before she ever sees it, sucker, and he's like, all right, whatever. And he's just always wanted, he's just a money. He's a hustler, dude. So he goes,
sounds like my little brother.
He goes, all right, well, I really want $20. And I'm like, all right, bro, kick a goal, $20. He's like, man, and he knows he hasn't even touched the ball for 7 games. He ain't gonna even kick the ball.
Okay.
What does the little shit do? Kicks the ball one time the entire season, scores a goal, runs past all of his celebrating teammates, runs over to me and says, $20, sucker. Like he didn't even care about the goal. It was, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
I would be so proud
man?
of my son.
Oh, I was. And I'm like, $20 and I slap it in his hand in the middle of the game, man. And all the parents are like, what the hell? He's paying his kid to kick goals, And I'm like, no, man, you guys have no idea. But
there's a whole side story.
Dude,
we had a side quest over here. Y'all still stuck on the main mission.
Man, unbelievable. And then, like.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah,
Plinko, I'll give you things like that. Okay.
Yeah, just
I got
like,
you.
whoa, what?
Okay. No,
or, right. T-shirt gets launched into the crowd, bam, right in his lap. Sure. People diving left and right, just like stuff like that where you're like, what, dude? How?
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll give you those. No, you're right.
Certain things. I can't really think of many, like
lottery. I mean, lottery's good luck. Also, although someone would say no, it's preparation for opportunity because you have to buy the ticket. That's you taking an opportunity.
I wrap cars. I'd mentioned that earlier. So vinyl wrap vehicles of all sorts,
coolest
food trucks to fucking Maseratis to fucking all sorts of, and I do a lot on the side, and I've made a pretty good living.
I want to
hustling.
How thick is that wrap?
It's pretty thick. I mean,
can you get it thin?
I mean, it's.
Have you ever?
It's
have you
thin.
Ever done that?
What are we talking about?
Have you ever done that like water oil dipping shit? It's the same thing. It's a wrap, but it's a film.
I haven't done it, but I have a friend who does it.
I want to do one to a guitar.
Yeah.
Eventually, I want to have
I've wrapped guitars with vinyl, and they look unfucking
yeah, but if it's thick, it's gonna change the sound.
Man. It ain't gonna change it.
Bullshit.
It's
It'll
so
change
thin.
It. Trust me, dude.
It's so thin that it will not change.
You just said it's thick.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
So
how thick is it?
How thick is a sticker?
Yeah, if you put enough stickers on a guitar, it'll absolutely change. If you cover a
what guitar are we talking about? Electric guitar?
This one, yeah.
Fuck out of here, dude.
It'll
I'd
change
wrap
the
that shit,
resonance.
you'd never ever fucking hear the difference.
Bullshit.
Man.
I'll hear it.
No way.
I'll hear it. 100%. Dude, if you put enough stickers on if you cover the body.
Yeah,
of the
but
guitar,
now you're talking about layers of stickers.
No.
You're just talking one here, one there, one here.
Yeah. So there's still gaps. That's enough material to change the resonance of the top of the guitar. They specifically choose the woods that go on there because it can drastically change it, and the thickness of the woods and all of that. But there's an oil wrapping thing where they dip it in a thing of water. And they can come up, and I want to do that because it's what I want to do is get the album
that's
cover.
Any thinner than vinyl, though. It's still a layer. I mean, vinyl is paper thin.
Is it really?
Yeah. I don't see. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I guess I'm not a guitarist, so I could be wrong. But I've wrapped DW drum kits.
Yeah.
Sound as good as they ever fucking did.
Yeah.
I've wrapped
It depends
guitars.
it depends on if the original drum kit was wrapped to begin with.
Well, the original drum kit was painted poorly, so
And then you
I wrapped it.
sanded
sanded
it off.
wrapped it up.
That might work because you're just adding the original thickness of the paint back.
I don't know, man. The
But
guitar,
if you wrapped it around
I
paint,
wrapped a
it would change it.
super nice Ibanez at one point in
How
time.
much does something like that cost?
I mean, we're talking about a guitar or a car, or what are we talking
Guitar.
about? Not much, dude. Probably $50 a
Oh,
material.
fuck, dude, I got to do it. It'll be worth it.
But that'd be me hooking you up. If you're out there listening, you want your guitar wrapped, fucking $300, sucker.
Unless you use the word singer, and then you get 10% off.
Yeah. There you go. But nah, like, I don't know, man. It's dope, and I don't know why
Dude, I
people
would
don't
do that
do it more often. We put an old Nuisance
Dude,
guitarist
I
had
thought
one.
it was gonna be like $1,000.
Oh hell no, dude! It's a sticker, and it's all about the art being digitally transformed into
Properly.
a JPEG and blah blah blah.
So
all
you
that
need like
nerdy
a
shit
high
that I
res
don't know.
ping.
Yeah, high res. I mean, I just wrapped my bedroom wall in vinyl.
I seen you did that
And
for
it
your
looks-
kid. You did
and I did
the-
it for my kid too. I did Sonic the Hedgehog World.
Dude, that was like one of the coolest
Dude, he
things I've
lost
ever
his
seen.
mind. But you know, the sky's the limit, man. I've wrapped drum kits. I wrap lockers. Like we got lockers at work, and I wrapped them. My locker's got Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then like the dude next to me is Steven Seagal. And then
You've
there's,
done
like,
a bunch of work for the Vikings. You've
oh
done a
shit,
bunch of
yep.
cool shit.
Timberwolves, Vikes. I met a lot of Vikings. I mean, me and Stefan Diggs had a super long conversation about tattoos. And
Fuck
shit.
that guy.
Oh, he's fucking
Whiny little bitch.
Nice ass dude, though.
He's a
man.
whiny little bitch, is what he is.
We had a great combo in the elevator.
Fuck him.
And I should have worn my Bills hat
Fuck
today.
you,
just
Stefan.
because of-
Unless you want to come on the podcast, then we're cool.
Nah, he was cool as hell. I mean, Kirk
It's a man
Cousins
in the
seems like a
trade.
bitch.
He is a bitch.
Yeah, he seems like
No,
one.
Kirk is a bitch. His favorite band is Nickelback. He tried
there
to
you
book
go.
Creed for a
There you
private
go,
concert
bro.
during COVID.
There you
no,
go.
those are two bitch moves.
Yeah.
You ain't getting no man points when your favorite band's Nickelback and you're trying to book Creed for a private concert during COVID. Out of all the options out there, those are your choices. Dude, you're more of a man if you try to book Amy Grant, bro.
Yeah.
Like, book Amy Grant or Adele, and you're more of a man than those two fucking bands.
What
Get outta
I
here.
found the trippiest about working
Is
for
that
the
what
Vikings,
his deal was, though? Hold on, though. Let's get back to this Stefan Diggs thing. Is that was his deal, though? He couldn't get down with Kirk?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, I would guess it's part of that, and probably they didn't want to pay him as much as he wanted.
They had already paid him. They
but
already
he's
signed
fucking
him.
good, right?
Already,
Is he good? Or is he not good?
They had already paid him.
Answer.
He was already on the
Is
new
he
contract.
good or is he not good?
He's great. He's on my fantasy team.
He's fucking phenomenal.
He's also a diva.
So yeah, absolutely. They all are, man. If you don't think what's his nuts, Thielen isn't a diva, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. You got to see this dude walk around fucking practice and shit, dude. You know, like dudes that weren't divas would be like.
I think Thielen is the epitome of a blue collar.
Yeah, that's
Minnesota
what
boy.
That's what everyone wants you to believe because the story's likable. But then when you see the dude in person, you're like, I don't know, man. I guess I haven't had a conversation with him,
See,
so
and that's the
I
thing.
could be wrong.
That's the difference.
But
See,
I've heard
you've
him
had
talk.
a conversation with
I've
the
sat
Diggs.
there and watched him talk to media, and to me, he seems like a fucking diva, dude.
See, and you've had a
More
conversation
of
with
a
Diggs.
diva than Diggs. Diggs. We were riding the elevator. He's like, damn, bro, you got some sick art, man. And I'm like, oh, thanks, dude. And I'm like, so do
Right.
you. He's like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, yeah, Scotty
Right.
Scotty Munster's your dude because I follow him on Instagram. He's a badass tattoo artist out of St. Cloud.
Free plug.
Yep,
You owe
there
me
you go.
money, bitch.
Yep. But like, and you'll see him like up front row every Vikes game when there were games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was dope. So here you got Stefan Diggs probably hooking Munster up with fucking front row right behind the field goal shit, you know, his tattoo artist. That's a dope dude. So we start comparing tats and shit, and he's like, damn, yeah, that's a really nice tat. And I'm like, yeah, man, that was a really nice catch, dude. And he was like, fuck yeah, you know, and like we had a moment in that elevator where, you know, and
See, I've humanized him. That's the thing,
Yeah.
is like you've humanized Diggs because you got to know him as a human. And you kind of talked about this earlier, bro. You talked about this like with the Killswitch thing, and I think
Adam
this
B.
is interesting because
I've actually met quite a few famous people now that I think about it.
we kind of all have living
Yeah.
in this industry, like, and for me being a musician, I met some people on tour. I met some people opening for them. I met some people while I worked at Guitar Center. Like that's where I met a few
Right.
athletes and shit.
Yep.
But what I'm getting at is like what I'm finding interesting through this discussion is the humanization of people. For example, you mentioned this thing with Killswitch, and I've noticed it with my friends, where it's like, I'm not sure if this is actually great or if I like it because they're my friends.
Right.
And then there's other times where I can totally cut that bitch in half and be like, no. Here's the thing. I'm your friend and I like you and I know you're good, but this song sucks. Like, and you need somebody to tell you this song
I could
sucks.
go on about some real shitty dudes that I once respected.
I need some more of those people in my life.
Yeah.
Some more people where I send you a song and you go, no, dude, this sucks.
Right.
I have too many people that are like, yeah, dude, it's really good. I like it.
Well, I think
that doesn't help me.
I think this sucks is something you don't want to hear, but how about...
I need to hear it.
Yeah, but how about, like, I liked this, but this, you know, that's kind of where you lost me, or that's kind of, you know, like I always try to give constructive criticism more like that. Like, pick something you like and then pick a thing or two you don't like.
Okay, you're making some good points, so let me clarify. Here's what I'm getting at: is it when you start getting into that shit, everyone thinks they're a fucking songwriter, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I want to know, is this idea good or not?
Right.
Like, because I can't tell. I've been playing this riff for 2 weeks. It's stuck in my head. I keep playing it, but something about it seems off, and I can't tell if I'm just burning myself out on it, or if it's actually a cool riff, or if it sucks.
Yeah, you do need that in your life, but I also think that as a musician, and I'm not a musician, man. I write poetry. I write rhymes. I fucking have learned how to utilize my voice somewhat, and you know, like, and have progressively gotten better.
You're actually good.
Yeah, but no one. I mean, I guess, yeah, I should be fucking all them years and all that time and all that.
But do you see what
shit.
I'm saying? Because I mentioned this earlier. If somebody would have come to me and been like, Jared, you're not a good singer. Stop trying to be a good singer. And either become the best screamer of all time,
right,
or
utilize your strengths and carve your niche.
This is what I'm getting at. Yeah, like
always carve.
Like,
your
dude,
niche.
if it sucks, stop doing it.
Right.
But not. There's so many people in our lives that are afraid to be brutally honest that it actually can hurt us. Because, dude, I wasted years trying to incorporate singing, and
I feel like if people would have told you sucked, you might have been too stubborn to listen to it anyways.
Or it would have pissed me off and motivated me to become better.
Right.
But either way, I needed to hear more of, no, dude, like, here's the thing. You're a good front man.
Right.
Like, you were a good screamer.
Right.
But, dude, you're a shitty singer.
Yeah.
Like, you're terrible at singing. I needed that to either piss me off and put a chip on my shoulder and motivate me, or go, you know what, these motherfuckers are right.
Right.
And I could either switch back to guitar and drums, which is, because that's the thing people don't understand.
Well, maybe
I wrote all that music for 7 months.
If you can't sing Tool, but yet you can sing fucking Everlast, or
that's what I think you did well.
Yeah,
you learned what you could do well.
Exactly.
I didn't.
Yep. And that's where you're like, yo, my notes just don't. I can't do that. You know, it's not in me. And I
knew what I
wanted, emulate it all I want,
nailed
but
it
just
dude.
never right.
I knew what I wanted to do.
Right.
I was never.
Well, we all want to
what
be
I could
fucking
do.
Mike Patton. We all want to be fucking Phil Anselmo. We all want to be, you know, Randy
But I didn't
Blythe.
understand the difference between my abilities and my talent. Right. So like, you may have the talent to be Mike Patton, but you don't have the abilities. That's something you can learn, right? You may have the abilities to be Mike Patton, but you don't have the talent. And if you don't know the difference between those two, you could waste years, which is what I did. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at, man.
Well, I think,
and I'm not saying that for you or anybody else.
No matter what, though, you're going to waste years. Like, there's just, I can't even count how many wasted years, but it's all for the bigger picture. And, you know, like, I wouldn't be who I am and what, you know, and not that this is the best Vince I've ever been, because it's not. You know, you get older in life, but it's not bad, and it's better than a lot of motherfuckers out there, and not just musically, but life wise, you know, like, yeah, it's tough, dude. This year's fucking tough on everyone, man. All of us.
At every scale.
On every scale.
There's people you thought were rich, and you thought they were celebrities because they were making 150 grand a year balling out of control, and they're literally having the same conversation with their wives that you're having tonight.
Yeah.
How are we going to pay the mortgage?
Right.
Honey, we're going to literally, I can't work.
Yeah.
There is no jobs. Like, what am I going to go do? Make $10 an hour? I'm still losing the house. We still can't pay the mortgage. How do we figure this out, honey? Yep. All of us. It equalized everyone. Corona has been a great equalizer.
But there are people out there. You just sometimes, like, I've always been too egotistical to ask for help. Like, yo, help me. You know, and I don't need it.
Do you think it's egotistical?
Yeah. too much pride to ask like, yo, I'm at my lowest point.
So you'll never ask for help?
No, not that, because you will. Eventually, you're going to be so
I'm talking
low.
about you.
Oh, well, I don't feel like I've ever been to the point of needing help. You know, I've been fortunate enough. Right. I've been fortunate enough to work a decent job. Yeah, I'm blue collar, but I do a lot of side hustling. I work a lot of side jobs, man, every other weekend. So I'm fortunate to have them because of what I do is such a weird fucking thing that there's people out there wanting shit wrapped nonstop, you know? So it's one of them things where I was fortunate enough to get on something that is strange. You know, like you don't know that there aren't that many people that wrap cars. Like there just isn't. There's maybe, I would say 50 in the whole state of Minnesota. And out of that 50, a lot of them are kids. So they haven't been doing it long.
Do you have a site we should plug to show people?
No, not yet, because I work for a company and I want to keep that going because it's a great company.
Should we plug them? Do you have pictures of the shit you do for them?
Not even that, because my main goal is to start my own business. Gotcha. And I want to do it within a year. You know, I'm going to do it within a year. And I'm going to start doing some big shit because I'm so busy every other weekend anyways. And it's like, okay, so I work a weekend and I make what I make in a week, you know, like it's a weird thing, or what I make in a month. I've had jobs where we do it in 11 hours and I'm like, yo, I made that much in a month. Like, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? Right. So I know that the money's out there in what I'm doing. And it's just a weird niche thing, but I'm really into doing the creative shit, you know, like doing guitars, doing drum kits, doing walls, doing like, it's amazing what you can do in your house when you wrap a wall. Like my shit is dope. You know, I bought a big ass fucking gothic looking street
when I get the spot, right? Yeah, because we talked before the podcast. So when I get the spot,
like and I'd start with wrapping this fucking table is what I'd start.
No, I'm not gonna wrap the table. I want to get a nice table. No, here's the thing. Hold on. You can't see it now, but you can see the back of the guitar. Look at the back of that one back there. You see the natural wood? That's my shit. So I'm gonna get a really nice actual real wood table. All right. But here's what I want to do. See that logo right there? I want to take that and I want to put that on a wall, and that's where we're going to take the social media pics.
Well, you
we're
probably
take it in front of the logo.
A cheaper way of doing that probably just print a banner, you know, because vinyl wraps are. Yeah, I'd go with a banner, and I got some people who print banners. They'll fucking hook you up for cheap. I mean, I've been like, what? How much for band? Like, I mean, full scrims and shit, couple $100. I'm like, what? For you know, like
where I'm at in my career, dude, like I'll even make a deal. Like, you want to fucking hook up some sponsorship shit? I'll give you guys some free promo.
It ain't even about. It's about friends, you know. Like we help each other out, man. That's
what I'm saying. Like we'll throw some plugs and some promos out there.
Figure some shit out for you, bro. I got that. So I work a lot with Justin.
Dude.
I work a lot with Justin. Like you had him on the podcast.
Crandall?
Nope. Him.
Boney.
Yep.
Boney.
Yep. So he does a lot of my graphic design for a lot of these raps, and he's a straight professional and super good at what he does. So he knows what I do is a weird thing, and together we go out to a job site, measure a bunch of shit, and he's like, yep. And we talk about what the customer wants as a design, some ideas, get the ball rolling, and then bam, he hooks it all up, does all the computer nerd shit, and then I go out and I'll fucking
physically do it. That's dope, dude.
Yep, it's dope, and it's cool to see some of these, man. We did this badass Mexican chick's fucking taco trailer, and like, so this chick, they're called Wet Tacos. There's another and
great name.
Yep, great name. Super fucking amazing tacos. Like literally, probably the best fucking taco I've ever had in my life. No bullshit.
Really?
No bullshit. Blow your mind.
It's a food truck. Called
it's
Wet
a trailer,
Tacos.
Wet Tacos, and a lot of people.
And they're just out and about here in Minneapolis.
Yeah, mainly St. Paul.
Oh, okay.
But she's blowing up, dude. She's got lines like it.
Well, shout out to Wet Tacos. Come over to Minneapolis. Come over to the hood.
Yeah. Well, she's in the hoods of St. Paul, so
come over to Minneapolis hoods. We like tacos too, bitch.
It's a beautiful thing, man. And like I remember when me and Justin, or I met her first, and she's like, yo, I want to wrap my trailer and I want Wet Tacos, and I'm like, oh, all right, this will be fun. And we kind of talked about it. Like, she was heavily tattooed and she wanted, like, you know, that tattoo vibe. And I think that's probably why she vibed with me. And I'm like, all right, yeah, man, we'll get something rolling. And I'm like, well, she goes, well, how much for the whole wrap? And I'm like, well, a trailer, you're probably looking at, you know, $5,000. And she's like, fuck, you know. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get this business rolling. And I'm like, I get it. I'm like, well, what about just wrapping the front of the trailer? You know, we'll do a sweet ass wrap, and that's probably going to cost you, you know, $1,500 or something like that. Not bad. And then just piece it together as business booms. And she's like, looked me dead in the eye and was like, I'm doing this shit right. This is my dream. I'm going all out. This is the last $5,000 I have to my name. I have everything I need to start this business, but I need the wrap because it's promotion. It's wet tacos. No one knows a white trailer is wet tacos unless it fucking says wet tacos on the side of it. Now it does, right? So it was impressive to me to see a younger woman all about her dream, all about her passion, and then willing to put every fucking dime she had to do her vision the right way, which she did, which has highly paid off for her.
That's
you know, so and that's what's cool about what I do is like, it's such a, if you're a plumber and you're rolling around the Twin Cities fucking metro area in a white van, you're fucking yourself over, man. You're driving billboard. Like, yeah, I get it. A wrap's expensive. Come watch me do it and you'll understand why it's expensive. The material's expensive, the fucking time, the tediousness, all that shit. You could pay some fucking jackwagon to try and put a sticker on your shit, but it's going to look fucking stupid. Right. It's going to be crooked, and I might even make it crooked because the shit is hard, dude. It's not a fucking, you know, like, right. It's not a paintbrush. It's not a stencil. It's literally a sticker going on, but I mean, I always preach that to people, like, yo, if it's your business, like, you need to advertise, you need to do it right. You need to, like, wraps are everything, man. And where I work, like, we wrap things from high-end sports cars, lots of high-end sports cars, to fucking box trucks, to walls, to Slumberland furniture, to fucking, you know, whatever.
That's so fucking wild.
To the Timberwolves, to the fucking Vikings. I mean, the whole Vikings TCO, you drive by, it's got that big ass Viking on the side of it. Yeah. My old coworker did that in vinyl. Right. Like, it's vinyl on the edge. It looks like it'd be paint, but it's crazy how far this shit's came. And just like, you know, you walk through the Target Center and there's these huge murals on brick walls of Kevin Garnett, and you're like, damn, that's fat. Well, I put that up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy to see. I don't know, and just a good field to be in, because it's just one of them weird things that everyone apparently needs. Even you want to fucking rap guitar,
right? No, I totally do.
And dude, my house all wrapped up. You know, like, really? I'm about to wrap my coffee table with a Ouija board and shit. Like, yeah, I'm going ape shit, man. It's just a dope thing. I mean, even with the band, wrapping skateboards. Sell skateboards and wall hang. They're the perfect wall hanging. People pay $50 all fucking day and night for a nuisance skateboard, you know?
Right.
Different album cover, different whatever. I mean, shit, I got 4 of them on my porch, and they're so dope that I buy them. And,
right.
You know, like, so yeah, I don't know, man. I've been fortunate enough to have a decent job, and it's blue collar, but I look at it as, you know, 7-8 years of apprenticing to be the best at what I do, right, to the point where I can do it fully on my own. And at that point, I hopefully will be working less and making more.
100%, dude.
And that's the American dream. That's a worldly dream. That's a human
dream. Fuck yeah, dude.
So, you know, and then if I work less and make more, then I make more music.
No, absolutely, dude. You know what we got to do is we got to get you set up with like a website or something, man.
Yeah, no, I will. I'm kind of keeping it incognito at the moment because I you know, winter's coming. I don't know. There's always excuses for not starting your own business, though, right?
No, I get it, dude. Sorry, I'm just looking at something. I'm trying to cue something up. No, I'm trying to cue something up.
What's
here.
What's that, midget?
Fuck, dude.
I think she's dead, dude.
I was hoping I could get this up real quick, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to. So I gotta take a break.
Yeah,
I gotta pee.
Yeah.
It'll only take me a couple minutes. Do you want to jump in chat and fucking talk to some of these cats for a second?
Yeah, how do
I was going to try to play a song. Fucking, you can literally just literally talk to them because they can see you and hear you, and this is what they're
Travis Daughtry.
Yeah. Dude, it's going to be 2 seconds.
He's a fucking dope ass tattoo artist.
Yeah, Travis.
Beloved, man. He tatted my head, y'all. Check. Do I have a camera on?
Let me put it to your camera. Yeah, it is on your camera. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, that's what they're seeing right
Travis
now.
Did that shit. Travis, you the man, son. You gotta get that neck tatted up,
that
dude.
Shit is wild.
Patrick Olson. P-Dog. What's up, dude? Yeah. So I don't know if there's a lag on this or if y'all are hearing me or what.
There's no lag.
All right. Oh, that's not bad. 10-second lag. P-Dog. How about them Vikings, son? 4-5, but we're on the ups. I actually don't think we'll beat the Cowboys, but man, I fucking hate the Cowboys. Yeah, exactly. California living, man, ain't that something? I'd be California living too if I could. Yeah, it's Patrick. Who's the Alchemist Cocktail Lounge? Oh, Johnny Wheeler. All right, Polly Cuts. All right, we got some kids up here. Cali living. So how's the weather? Fucking perfect. No rain, no nothing. Just massive forest fires and earthquakes, landslides, stuff like that. Yeah, he's got to be more than 10 seconds behind us because he's still a Me Too skull. So, Patrick, do you think the Vikings will beat the Cowboys? I'm going to go with no. I hate to say it. I fucking hate the Cowboys, and all my boys in Dallas are listening right now talking mad shit. Because they know. What's up, Paulie? I'm actually right down the road from you, son. I should have had you come over here.
Bro, come have a beer.
DJ.
Paulie, come have a beer. We're right down the road.
Yeah, he's literally fucking right down the road.
Text him my address. Tell him to come have a beer.
Another North Sider.
Text him my address. Tell him to come have a beer.
Patrick, you think we will beat the Cowboys?
He said yes. And it's the apocalypse.
It is the apocalypse. We were literally at band practice talking about yo, shit's looking bleak. Where the fuck do we go from here? And there's nowhere to go. We're all fucked.
For real. Shout out to Patrick though, man. Fucking Patrick used to
Loud and Local, man.
Dude, he was the man on 93X.
It has not been the same without him.
And he did voiceover work on the first 3 GTA games. Is that right? You're on the... What? So if you play GTA 1, 2, and 3, or is it also into 4, Patrick is one of the radio voices you listen to the radio in Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. Patrick, please confirm. Clearly you're watching. I think it's 1 through 3, and then I think he said... Because I've talked to him about this. I think he said when... they moved to the next gen consoles, they started going with lesser known voices.
Okay.
And I read into that, and I think that's correct because it was a budget thing. So they had to pay Patrick a lot of money because he was a known voice. He was a known.
He said, no, just Vice City.
Vice City.
Yeah, get your shit straight.
What am I doing with my life,
man? Sorry, I apologize for him, Patrick.
No, Patrick's actually a fan of the podcast. He messaged me. He said some very encouraging words when I was starting to doubt myself. So thank you, Patrick. You're the man. I love you, man. I've always looked up to you.
You should get him on. You should get him on a podcast.
We talked about it
in town. That'd be great.
He already said he would. We just got to get him here.
Right.
For real though.
Or we got to go to him.
Well, here's the thing,
That's
dude.
more important.
I got 2 people, possibly 5 people.
In Cali.
Hold on. I got to be careful how I say this. Let me verb this right. I got 4 former NFL players I could potentially interview on the podcast in Texas plus Josh Siegel from 13th
Yep.
Step /
And,
UFA and
Ray
Primer
Finkel.
55.
Ray Finkel. And Einhorn.
Finkel and Einhorn. But I might do that is my point. I might go down to Texas and bang out like 5 or 6.
Bang out 5 or 6.
Yeah, like get a hotel room, rent out the fucking commercial space, rebuild this set in there, bang out like 5 or 6 podcasts in a week.
Podcast.
And then I'm thinking maybe we'll go out to Cali. Maybe Patrick.
Well, you
can
could be
hook
onto
us up with
something,
some good
man.
people.
You know, like,
Oh, dude,
get your shit rolling. Get yourself a fucking
do a
Sprinter.
mobile spot,
That's what
bro.
that's
and
what
we'll
I'm saying.
wrap that motherfucker.
We'll wrap that motherfucker
with
you.
that logo.
No, just your head, dude, on the side of it, like
Just
a
my
driving
head.
head, dude. Wouldn't that be?
With my cauliflower,
Yeah.
you're just flopping out.
Well,
the
right,
lid.
right. Yeah, we'll
I
make
want
it
a
three-dimensional.
physical. Yeah, I want a physical cauliflower.
I actually
ear.
always thought that'd be funny, man. Like the nose on the front, on the hood, fucking eyebrows up on the roof. You know what I mean? Like full blown head driving down the road.
Best. That's the fucking best, dude.
Yeah, there is some crazy shit you can do. I mean, I put Patrick Swayze on the back of fucking our old tour bus.
Oh, I gotta grab another beer. Shit.
Named his ass Swayze, and it was highly entertaining.
Dude,
in fact,
Patrick
that's
Swayze was the
probably
man.
Oh, absolutely, and that was probably the reason why Killswitch was cool with us right out of the bat. They walked over to our bus and was like, "Yo, who the fuck are you? And why do you have the coolest bus out of all these fucking touring bands?" I'm like, man, because I rap shit, bro. That's why.
That's the coolest shit ever.
That's why. Dude, I remember we were playing some festival, probably Rockfest or something, and one of the band girlfriends comes over and they're like, yo, check this out. They show us a picture, and it's just all these boobs. Just fucking like 8 pairs of boobs, 16 boobs floating in the air. Right around, and they were just obsessed with fucking Swayze. So
Tesla? Did Patrick just say I can interview Tesla if I make it to Cali?
Papa
Oh,
Roach.
shit. Oh shit, that's cool.
He tried to spell Deftones, but don't fuck with me. I will come out to California to talk. Actually, I've met
Dude,
the
you know
Tones
what
a
though?
couple
Here's the
times.
thing: is actually, I would talk to the Deftones because it would actually make a
You
better.
would talk.
it
You
would-
would
it would be a
fucking
better-
damn right. You'd talk
It would
to
be
the
a better
Deftones.
interview that I'm not a fanboy. Is what I'm getting at.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Like that would be a way better podcast because I'm not going to fanboy out on them. I'm because I don't look up to the Deftones. I don't look at them like a Metallica or a Guns N' Roses or a Slipknot. Like I look at them as dudes who make music and happen to be way more dramatically successful than I could ever have hoped to be.
Well, the thing about the Deftones,
Does that make sense though?
to me is you can fight, you can fuck, you can party, you can cry.
But can you write?
You can-
Can you write White Pony?
I mean, you could. No, I couldn't, but they could. Obviously, they did.
Here's the thing, dude. Is I'm not hating on Deftones.
And not only that, but if
I'm not hating
if
on the
Maynard's
Deftones.
gonna get on a song with you, you gotta be doing something right, dude. You know?
Hey, man, dude. There's a lot of people in this world that don't like or respect Korn.
Mm-hmm.
Metallica at their induction ceremony to the Hall of Fame called Korn their peers.
Yeah.
So your opinion, my opinion, the individual fans or musician's opinion doesn't matter.
Right.
Like
That's true.
you're either a pro or you're not. My opinion doesn't matter is what I'm saying is
Yeah.
like if I were to go in fucking interview Metallica, that would hands down be the worst podcast I've ever done because I wouldn't be able to shut the fuck up
the whole time.
I wouldn't be able to shut up.
Yeah.
It would be 3 hours of me telling them how much they meant to me. That would be a
Right.
terrible podcast.
Right.
But
I would-
Deftones,
then
on the
I
other
would
hand, I
interview
would like be
Metallica,
talking
'cause-
to them like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, hey man, how do you think about
Yeah.
this? How do
what
you
are you into, man?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like I would do Deftones. Deftones would be cool. I wouldn't do Metallica. Like let's say he could be
You
like,
would
hey man,
you would do Metallica.
No,
in
I
a
fucking wouldn't.
heartbeat.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
no, I wouldn't. I'd
Yes,
be
you
terrified.
would.
I'm
It's the
admitting my
same-
humility, Vince.
I don't believe it.
I would
don't
be
believe you.
terrified. There's
Because
no.
it's the
I would have to
same-
hang out with them for a week first and get to know them and get rid of the
You
fanboy.
would just want to.
I couldn't.
You would.
It would
You
be off brand, dude.
You would do it.
No, because this
You
isn't
would
an
do
interview.
it?
The podcast is a conversation, brother.
But
like
the
I would have to
podcast
hang out with them for a
is-
week and get to know them.
But
and
think
get
of how
past
many
all the fanboy
Yeah,
shit.
but how many fanboys of your podcast would you get if you had Metallica on the podcast? So it'd be
Wrong
stupid.
motives.
It'd be
Wrong motives, man.
yeah, right motives, because you're trying to do this on a bigger level, and that's how you do shit on a bigger level is step it up. You know, he starts.
You're not
starts
wrong.
with Vince from Nuisance.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong.
Starts from Vince from Nuisance and then goes to fucking. I don't even know. I was gonna come up with something stupid.
There's
as
so
shit,
many
but
names I want to
don't know.
drop that I have lined up, but I don't have on the books yet, so I can't drop the names.
Yeah,
because they're too big. The names are
Right.
so legit. I'm like, dude, if I say this out loud and it doesn't happen,
Well, yeah.
I lose all my
I
credibility.
can't even tell you how many times I've done that, dude. I remember being a young musician, like we were supposed to open up for Linkin Park right before they dropped their first hit. I don't even know what their first hit. I've actually never been like nothing but love, a lot of respect for Linkin Park. Just never really got into it. What the fuck? One step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. That was their first hit, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yep. So it just started coming out on the radio, and we were supposed to open up for them at Station 4, and it was like a Nutcracker after party or something, right? And we were managed at that point in time by the singer of Tears for Fears, which is funny in itself. Super nice dude, and I like Tears for Fears. I got nothing but love.
Is that everybody wants to?
I'm thinking more shout. Yeah, I think they had that song too, though. But shout, let it all out. They actually
you
had
know
a
who I'm
bunch of
thinking of
hits.
when I'm thinking Tears for Fears?
Duran.
Songs aside.
Right.
When I laughed, when you said Tears for Fears, the reason I laughed is because the image I got in my head wasn't Tears for Fears. Songs are relevant. I saw the picture of Flock of Seagulls in my head with those fucking haircuts. When you said Tears for Fears, I saw Flock of Seagulls.
Man,
Wrong band.
I think Tears for Fears has some legit. They got quite a few hits. I mean, they were one of the bigger.
No, Tears for Fears is legit.
So Kurt Smith was the singer. I think they had multiple singers though. I'm not even 100% sure. English dude, I know that. Because he'd call up and he'd be like, yeah, I can't even do an English accent, but I wish I could.
I can't. Just tell me what to say.
Say, like.
Are we going London?
Yeah,
okay.
London. So, like, you guys
tell
remind me of, like, a party band like the Beastie Boys. Or
you guys remind me of like a party band like the Beastie Boys.
And then Little Vince is like, yeah, thank you.
That's kind of like
I love your song, shout, let it all out. And then as I'm looking
that's a poor, I just did a poor London British man
It was better
accent.
than I could do, man. I always
go
fucking Australian. Crikey, mate. You
guys are like a... Yeah, I do too. I do, especially when I'm drinking. When I'm drinking, I go Australian. Crikey!
Yeah, turn into a fucking Australian pirate.
My best British accent is a creepy British woman. Oh, you guys are so talented, like a good party band, like a Beastie Boys. So, delicious.
That's not bad. That's not
It's
bad.
just a creepy British woman or a really effeminate dude.
Fucking Bill Cosby. I would like to talk to you about the gelatin pudding pop.
Tell me, Vincent.
Now,
have you ever had your asshole licked by an elderly British woman?
I would go with no, but
Do
I'm
you
open.
want to?
Well, it depends on if she looks like you or...
I'll send the driver, Vincent. He'll pick you up at noon.
If you have a driver, I might be in too. Shit, I don't know.
I do my ass eating at noon, Vincent. Now I went into like a weird
take the
Conan.
day off of work. Yeah, I got real weird.
I went into like a Conan.
Yeah, that was fucking weird. All right. So yeah, back to
Yeah,
So,
what do you want to talk about, man?
I was talking about opening up for Linkin Park, and then it got fucking just ape shit.
Well, that's what happens when you.
But it was the bassist from 35-Inch Mutter. Do you remember that band?
I do remember the name. Don't remember any of the songs.
They're out of Des Moines. They covered their big cover. It was
the fact that I remember their name means they were doing.
Well, they
something
opened up
good,
for
though.
Head Charge quite a few times,
and they were doing something good.
Yep, they were, and they had like two dudes. They were kind of like Straight Jacket, but different.
Straight Jacket was a wild band. They opened up for Solace and Ashes in Des Moines, and like 5 years later, they were like a big band.
Okay,
like they just we broke up, and they like kept going, and they blew up, and we didn't.
Yeah, they so 35-Inch Mutter. They were out of Des Moines. They were dope. They had a lot of press they covered a Prince When Doves Cry, and it was
dangerous.
It was actually pretty cool though.
Risky.
It was risky. They were kind of I'd call them like kind of Biohazard meets fucking Rage or something. I don't know, dude. They were cool for the time. But the bassist of that band and the singer of Tears for Fears managed us, and they got us on the bill to open up for Linkin Park. And then it was us and Sunset Black.
I remember that band.
Yep.
They were a really good band.
Really good band. So we were supposed to have direct support, if I remember correctly. And then somehow my manager fucking weaseled my band off of it and weaseled his band onto it. And I was bent, dude. I'm like, what the fuck, man? So
I got
last
accused
second,
of that once.
Yep, last second
Didn't happen. But
last
I got
second he
accused of it.
swapped us, and it is what it is. Oh yeah, but you guys are on the guest list, so we go and we watch. And I remember because back then I used to rock the Liberty spikes, so I had these crazy ass spikes, right? And I'm there, and Chester Bennington's wife or girlfriend, or I don't even know, it was so long ago. She came up and she's like, "How'd you do your hair?" And like asked me all these questions about it, and I told her about it, and like a month later, One Step Closer to the Edge came out, and look who's got little spikes, dude. And I was like, motherfucker stole my hair.
No shit.
Like, goddamn, man.
I remember the little spikes.
So I mean, if 22 years of music doesn't get you anywhere, at least you get your claim to fame as fucking the singer of Linkin Park stole.
I mean, hey, haven't you seen Forrest Gump, man? Elvis clearly stole his hip shaking from Forrest.
Absolutely, man. I can't even tell you how many of them bands I've played with.
Being the inspiration for someone else.
I hear their shit and I look at them and I'm like, yo, did you really just recite my lyrics? Like, what? In your own song and you're a bigger band? And like, that's going to fly, huh? I did.
Yeah.
10%
10% rule.
It's a trip.
10% rule, man. Well, listen, dude, how much longer you want to go?
How long we've been going?
We've been going...
hour and a half.
2 hours and 11 minutes
that's
far.
That's a long time. Yeah, I don't know, man. We probably wrap it up here pretty quick.
You got anything else you want to talk about?
Y'all take care of each other out there, man. COVID 2020. This is a fucking weird ass year. And I had COVID. I got it back in July. I was hanging out in Wisconsin, the Wild Wild West, and ended up catching it, and my bassist got it, my drummer got it, like full band, and I went on a 2-week quarantine, and like I didn't feel like I was dying. I felt like I had allergies. I was exhausted, super tired. I went and got tested. They failed on the testing results. They said there was an error in the test. But my roommate at the time tested positive, and we fucking had it. Doesn't mean I can get it again. I don't know. No one knows shit. It's just the weirdest damn thing. And all I can say is like, winter's coming. You're cooped up inside. You're feeling depressed. Like this time of year is hard as it is. And this year's been just a bitch. So like treat each other with some love. Treat each other with some compassion. Help each other out. Like we've all known, you got so many people in your life. Like just reach out and check up on a motherfucker.
Yeah, and stop asking for more.
Yeah.
Stop acting like you deserve more. You don't deserve shit.
It can always be worse. Yeah,
it is worse for somebody else right now.
It is way worse for someone else right now. And no matter how bad yours is, and I know some of you are, I'm fortunate enough to be floating by, but life ain't easy for me either. It ain't for anybody, but y'all just be there for each other and, reach out, check up on some people, man. Yeah. You can tell there's signs of people struggling, and, this time of year isn't easy as it is. So,
right. Like motherfuckers are usually getting laid off in normal circumstances.
Right.
And now we're coming into a COVID season.
Right. Like, actually what I was thinking about, like all the bars are straight up shut down now, right? Or they're open till 10?
I don't know. I think some so here's what I know. Regular like actual bars are straight up shut down. Restaurants are shut down now. But if it's like a brew pub, you can like pick up. So okay. I could go to Fair State or Dangerous Man. Free plugs, bitches, you owe me money.
So they have actual bartenders?
No, you just like call ahead. You're like, I want a growler of this. a can of this, because those are brew pubs that sell outgoing takeout beer.
What I was thinking
is what
about
I'm curious
doing,
is what bars are going to do. Like, is a
yeah,
bar going to?
I think they're shut down.
But is a bar
as of today?
Are they going to do it like Wisconsin? So when you and I go to Wisconsin and we're drinking at the bar, I can buy a 6-pack at the bar in bottles.
You can do whatever the fuck you
home.
want in Wisconsin. You can go into the bar with no mask on, belly up to the fucking bar, and shout at the dude next to you in camouflage. You know, like literally, Wisconsin is like Mardi Gras, man. They do not give a fuck. And I drive through it every other day, and I'm just like, God damn, dude.
I mean, I get it, though, but if you're worried, then wear a mask, you know?
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
like,
well, I mean, it is what it is. And
here's the thing is people are going to go bankrupt and starve to death here, and they're going to be fined 30 minutes east.
And whatever you believe, that's fine. Believe what you want to fucking believe. That's perfectly fine. If you want to believe it is real, you want to believe it isn't, you want to be overly concerned, but have courtesy for the people that are overly concerned, because they, in their heart of hearts, believe that there's a reason to be.
And that's fine. But here's my question is, if you're overly concerned as somebody who had COVID.
Yep.
Okay. If somebody's overly concerned out there.
Yep.
And they're saying, no. You can't operate your small business.
Right.
Because it's too much of a risk to me.
Right.
Like, to me, from the outside looking in, I'm like, well, then just don't go to those places.
Right.
Stay home, wear a mask, wear gloves, sanitize, be careful.
Yep.
Because we're going to see states like Texas and Wisconsin, those businesses, small businesses. We're not talking about corporations. Fuck the corporations. No one cares about the goddamn corporations.
Well, they're doing way better because of all this.
Right, exactly.
Amazon is fucking
and
as big as it gets.
That's what I don't understand is people are saying, no, capitalism's evil, and because corporations like Amazon are making all this money. And then COVID happens, and they're making even more money, and small businesses are being shut down.
Right.
And I'm going, I don't see the problem here. So Jeff Bezos was clever enough to create a business that could not only survive but thrive during a pandemic. And you want to punish this man for it.
Besides him, he has, like, I know a dude that works for Amazon. He's like one of the high ups. And he's worked his way there. You know, he started off as a driver, and then he was like a, manager, overseer, and then he was, and he worked his way up the shit. I mean, he makes a fucking killing. Rightfully so. He's been in the company forever.
Paid his dues, yeah.
All them people, though, are making good livings, and they're, so you can't hate on a great idea. And he's offered, like, I don't look at Amazon as a Walmart. There's just, it's a different animal.
Amazon's going to eventually put Walmart out of business.
Absolutely.
The only way Walmart survives in the long run is if they convert to an Amazon style.
Yep. And everyone should. Why are they not?
And they already have lawsuits pending because they're infringing on intellectual property rights of taking their space, and literally Amazon and Walmart have a big legal dispute. Like, you can't go buy a Fire Stick at Walmart. Right. Because they have a legal battle.
Well, if you were Walmart, you would figure out a way to disperse your product at a little bit cheaper of a cost to Amazon to sell on Amazon to give you money. And it might not be the full price that you could make, but it wasn't your fucking idea. So piss off.
And now you're not and you're not doing any labor. You're literally a middleman. So you're complaining about making money with doing little work. So it just doesn't make. I'm with you.
Where I was going
with you on
all this would, like, I'd really like to try to set up, and maybe if anyone's listening and has some ideas, like, hit me up, direct message me on Facebook or whatever, or if you have my number, let's talk. But my idea is, like, it'd be real cool to put together some, like, GoFundMe type things where I know plenty of bartenders that are hurting hard right now, and Christmas is coming up, and there's things coming up, and they're collecting unemployment, but as a bartender, you're living off your tips. What you're getting on unemployment isn't shit. Because, all right, maybe a bartender should claim all their tips and whatever, but that's a whole different fucking animal. Waitresses,
but
bartenders,
the point is they didn't.
Service industry people
and
are hurting.
Starving.
They're starving. And the holidays coming up, and, like, it would be real cool to put together something, like, even if my bands played a free you know, however long on a podcast or on a fucking live stream and raised money to be able to go to some of them moms and them dads out there busting their ass that can't work right now.
Yep.
And give them a hand, you know, because
there's another factor too. There's a lot of good people out there that are unemployed, and now they're overqualified for the jobs that are available. So there's motherfuckers going out there like, I made $150,000 a year. I was a CEO at such and such, and I can't go get a job for $10 an hour at Target as a stock shelfer or a shelf
because they don't want someone with a brain.
Right.
They want,
and they're literally,
they want you or me.
And they'll literally tell you, they'll go, you're overqualified. Right. As soon as the pandemic lifts, you're going to be gone. I can go hire somebody else who's going to stay.
Well, I think
can't
if
hire
you're
you.
$150,000 a year kind of guy, just commit a felony and then fucking run it off. You know, you'll be
just make sure it's a white collar felony.
Yeah.
No, but I'm down with this, and I want to. I'm looking into a place. We don't have a building. We haven't found a building yet, but I'm talking with a few people. We're trying to find a complex. I want to move the podcast out of the house, obviously, for all the reasons that everyone ever does it. But I want to do it because I have a spot right here behind this curtain where I rehearse with other musicians.
Right.
And we've talked about potentially hooking up cameras in here and doing a band thing, which we can do. We can do all that.
Yeah,
but there's other things going on.
A better space you can make.
And there's other podcasts. And that's the thing is, like, right now, I'm kind of a trailblazer on this tiny little local scope. Right. I'm not a trailblazer in any real world scenario, but I'm the only one in our crew doing this way, and everyone's
succeeding at getting people to come over and do it, man.
And people seem to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
So now I'm getting people hitting me up, be like, "Hey, man, I want to start a podcast. Can you help me out?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" Because the way I'm looking at it is the rising tide raises all ships, right? So if I can get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen motherfuckers creating podcasts, and we start making Minneapolis a place that is significant. Because here's the thing, Rogan. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go on a rant. All right. I'm gonna go on a rant. Here's the thing: is Rogan has been talking about this. Okay, in COVID, we're starting to see the masses not need giant cities anymore. Okay, because people are working from home, so you don't need to live downtown close to your job anymore, right? Number 2, people are freaking out because of the crazy shit that's going down in big cities, so they're moving out to the suburbs. So things are becoming more spread out. Okay, so even though Minneapolis, where we are in St. Paul, I say Minneapolis. When I say Minneapolis, for the listeners, guys, I apologize.
Twin cities.
I'm really saying Twin Cities, like MS, the whole thing. You know, like it's a deal.
I get it.
It's the Twin Cities. You get it. Some of them don't. Minneapolis, St. Paul, they're 2 different cities. They're directly next to each other. We call them the Twin Cities.
Sin Cities.
Freudian slip.
Yeah.
When a lot of people refer to St. Paul, they're also talking about Minneapolis and vice versa. When I say Minneapolis,
unless you're
really,
from either or, and then it turns into this big stupid thing.
But even in the credits, when I say so and so is a musician from Minneapolis, like often I did it tonight. Oftentimes they're from St. Paul, and they do it vice versa. They're
and I'm totally cool with Minneapolis. I don't give a shit. You can say I'm from Minneapolis.
It's one giant city. It's it's one metropolitan area.
Being a band member for so many years and playing all over the Midwest, it really turned into the Midwest. You know what I mean? Like as a you want to say something that everyone can relate to in the crowd, right? So if you're in Wisconsin, you're from St. Paul, but the second you say you're from Minnesota or St. Paul, then they're like, Minnesota Vikings, Minnesota Twin, you know, like all these things that come to their mind on why Wisconsin is better than Minnesota. And rightfully so, because we do the same thing, right? We're like, oh, fuck the Packers, you know. But in the scheme of shit, like the Midwest is it's a fucking great area, man. All of it. You go out into South Dakota in the middle of a fucking farm field and have a bonfire with your boys. Like there's the very few things better than that. And
there's a commonality. Like I agree with what you're saying so much, because if you're from Minneapolis and you're thinking, or St. Paul, Twin Cities, and that's what I was saying earlier, is we kind of amalgamate these two. We use 3 different titles for the same fucking thing. Right. Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's one giant metropolitan area. And there's something synergistic about even if you're from Minneapolis and you've lived downtown Minneapolis your whole life, you still ain't New York or Chicago or LA. There's still a Midwest vibe to our big city, and we identify with Sioux Falls
than them, man.
Well, here's what I'm saying is like we identify with Sioux Falls.
Yep.
We identify with Fargo. We identify with Des Moines.
Yep.
We identify, believe it or not, with
Nebraska.
Chicago. We
Kansas
identify
City.
with Western Wisconsin,
St.
fuck Eastern
Louis.
Wisconsin,
St. Louis, Chicago, Michigan.
and this
Fucking here we go, man. I mean, the Midwest.
Now
and
we're
it's-
talking the Midwest. Exactly.
You're from California, or you're from California. You're from the West Coast. You're from the West Coast.
Yep.
The Midwest that's a beast, dude.
I mean, you can go all the way out to
And
almost
we-
Colorado.
We
still
survive
be
the
Midwest.
coldest of the fucking winters.
Yeah.
We make it day in and day out. Y'all couldn't do that. You just couldn't, and that's why you live where you live, and that's fine.
And how do we do it though, Vince?
Miserably.
No.
wait.
Think about it. How do we survive?
Music.
Together. No, together.
Oh.
Together. We survive together. Why? Because the elderly lady who can't fucking shovel
Yep.
the 3 feet
Yep.
of snow,
Yep.
guess what? We're going to do it.
Because we are the heartland, motherfucker.
Right.
We're the heartland.
Right.
And it ain't just Minnesota nice. I think there's great people all over the Midwest. Farmers, hardworking motherfuckers. And that is what separates us from the rest of the world.
And
man.
that's why we don't like we say Minnesota because there's
Yep.
rivalries with other
Well,
states
and
with
you
sports.
just, like,
we
I-
only care about Minnesota,
when you used to
Wisconsin
go to-
because of sports.
when
dude.
you used to go to Iowa and play shows and you were like, yeah, oh, here are the Minnesota boys. And it was always kind of that thing where like, oh, big city, fucking look at these dudes. But if you go down there, they're going to figure out, they're going to know you're from Minnesota. You don't have to tell them, but all you got to say is we're from the heartland, man. We're all
Right.
Midwest.
and as soon
Y'all
as you're
make
not,
some noise for the Midwest, and then they're like, fuck yeah, we are. And now we're all the same because in a way we are.
and
You know?
as soon as you go to Iowa and you don't act like a big city,
What are we talking? 400 miles? Fuck out of here with that.
and
You
is
know
what's
what I mean?
crazy is you're from a big city,
Mhm.
but you can't draw 50 people up here.
I'm
But
from
you
a
go down
big
to
city.
Iowa and you can draw 800 people.
Okay, this was another thing. Like, I've always been a city kid, right?
See, we're just getting into
Yep.
it. We're in the third hour now.
Yep,
We're just
yep.
getting into the best parts of
Yep.
the podcast. You see what I was saying
Yep,
earlier? We
yep,
talked about this
yep,
before we
talked about
started.
this. So, like,
Right as we're ready to wrap it up,
Always
we're like,
being a
all right,
city
fuck
kid.
it, let's go again.
always up city kid, you know, like still, man, I live in the city. I've
Yep.
always been, and I don't want to live there for the rest of my life. I imagine someday I'll be out in the fucking middle of a field, you know, whatever. But the beautiful thing about the Midwest and about Minnesota and about St. Paul and about Minneapolis and about fucking Chicago and all that shit, you don't have to go far to find the woods, man. It's there. Like that's the thing, dude. I can go to the woods. I could go right down the fucking road and be on the Mississippi catching catfish, feeling like I'm in fucking Mississippi. You know what I mean? Like, that's the beautiful thing about the Midwest is like you don't have to go far to escape the city. So yeah, you might always be a city boy, but I'll get out and catch some fucking fish.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so even if you grew up a city boy in Minneapolis or
Right.
St. Paul, right? Like, even if you grew up that guy,
Right.
like, no, you're still from the Midwest, motherfucker. Like,
yeah.
your uncle still took you out to
Yep.
the boondocks.
Yep.
Like, bitch.
Damn right.
Like one
You know
of your
how to
fucking
fucking
relatives still
fillet a
has
fish.
exactly.
You know how to
Thank
fucking-
you.
Yep.
Thank you. What are all Minnesotans born on? Skates. You see,
Well,
like,
I can't actually skate.
I
played basketball, man. Yeah, and not all white people are fucking into hockey, bro.
I wanna do a thing someday because like as this thing grows, like I gotta start creating more content beyond the
Yeah.
podcast, you know. And everybody does it. Rogan's got his hunting videos and his
Yep.
archery shit, you know.
Sure.
One thing I think I want to do is I want to get a group of the local musicians, the Minneapolis scene, like our crew, the young kids, the new guys
Sure.
who I haven't had on the podcast yet. Because
Yep.
I'm talking to a bunch of these new kids, and I'm trying to figure out, man, some of these young bands that are blowing up. I'm not dropping any names because none of y'all motherfuckers have earned a goddamn thing yet. You ain't getting a name drop on this podcast yet because you ain't fucking paid any goddamn dues. However, some of you motherfuckers are super talented. Like, holy shit. This new group of Zoomers, man.
Yeah.
But what scares me is they don't seem to care. Like this is why none of them have been on the podcast yet. This is why none of you are getting a name drop right now. If any of you
'cause they
young
go on
cats that
their
I've been
own
talking to
Facebook
on the
page
scene,
and fucking blow it up.
you just don't have the drive. You don't have, when I look into your eyes or when I hear you talk to me on the phone, you young kids right now, man, you're complacent.
Yeah, but they don't even. That's the other part of it is they
You don't
literally
understand.
don't give a fuck about what you think.
Here's what it is. Here's what I think it is. Here's what I hear. Here's the commonality I hear. There's literally about a dozen of these young bands that I'm talking to. Because I network. I'm trying to get people on the podcast.
I don't even know any of them, man. That's kind of my. That's kind of an asshole move,
And you'll be blown away.
I want to.
And you would be blown away by their music. But here's why. Here's why they're not on. Here's why I'm not dropping their names
Probably
right now.
not, because I'm old.
No, I'm saying you would. You'd be like, dude, they're awesome. But here's why they're not on the podcast, and here's why I'm not dropping their name.
All right.
Because I don't hear it in their voice. I don't see it in their eyes.
Okay.
There's no chip on their shoulder. I'm not saying
they
feel entitled.
The Jesus.
It's not that I'm the Jesus. It's that there's a commonality. Okay. There's an easily identifiable factor within every person who earns. Okay.
Yeah.
An earner has a chip on their shoulder, bro. Okay.
But
now they may be quiet. They may not vocalize that chip on their shoulder.
All of these guests, including myself, have not achieved some of the shit that we should have.
But you earned everything you did.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give it that, but at the same sense, I'm not happy with that. Because
or I know
I want more.
Or I know you and you're cool as fuck. Well, like these are cats that I'm getting to know. Right.
Yeah.
And the reason I haven't been like, all right, you got to come on now because I want to push your shit is because I'm listening to this kid talk.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I'm not hearing any fire. I'm not hearing any drive. I'm just hearing him talk about bands he likes.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're just going to be boring as fuck, like you don't belong on a podcast anyways, right? I mean,
it's not even that. Like they're cool. They're interesting, but they're not trying to do anything.
Right.
They're just doing it.
Right.
And it's like, dude, you're wasting your time, and I'm not gonna. Because here's the thing: is like I'm so grateful. You said this earlier. Let me put this out there. I am so grateful for every listener.
Right.
That now I'm very conscious about who I bring on.
Right.
Like I want to make sure that my guests are comfortable and we're having a good time.
Yeah.
And I'm engaged and interested in having fun. But I also want to make sure that the people who've taken the time to subscribe and go out of their way to pay attention every episode, because I'm shocked, Vince. I'm shocked how many people are actually seriously into this. I thought I would get a lot of people patronizing me and support me in the beginning, but I've had so many people tell me they don't actually like this.
You're fucking trolls. You know that. If you don't have that,
I got called a nigger on the last one.
Then you ain't doing your job right.
I got called every hate word in the book on one of the last ones.
I've gotten plenty of that.
Not the one with Dan Lugo.
But only when I'm doing my best is when that seems to fucking surface, and that's always been the motivation to be like,
I got called a nigger, dude.
Yeah, I don't even see. I would refer to that as the N word, but I'm a white dude from the hood. So
I'm an eighth black, so
okay. And there you go.
I don't need my black card. I was able to give that back. I had a black card for a long time because I was just the coolest white dude in the hood. And then when
I was too, but never when I found dropping that word.
But when I found out, but I'm being called it. So
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
you
different
say what you say.
It's different when you're quoting somebody insulting you.
Right.
Plus, when I found out my great-grandfather was black, and I was like, I did the math, and I was like, oh shit, that makes me an eighth black. I talked to literally all my black friends, and they were like, bro,
what's weird about that?
They're like, if you're an eighth, bro, you don't need a card, bro.
Yeah, but what's weird about that is until you do a DNA test, that might have just skipped you completely. Like my grandma.
That's not how DNA works, bro.
Well, that's what I've been told. So my grandma,
it's not showing, but the DNA.
My
still
grandma
there.
on my dad's side was 50% native.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't that make me an eighth native?
Hold on, your grandma on your dad's side?
Yes. It'd make me an eighth native, right? But if I took a test, my sibling might be more native than me because that is the way that works.
She was pure native?
Yes. Well, 50% Lakota.
So yeah, in theory, that would make you an eighth.
In theory,
you don't look it,
no,
but you do have the similarities, like I do. You have higher cheekbones; they're not super pronounced like mine are, but you do have the higher cheekbones.
Higher cheekbones, fucking great bread making skills.
Do you have chest hair?
fucking luscious locks of. I mean, I do.
So
I'm not like an
okay.
overly hairy dude by any means, but
Because I have like a little patch of chest hair, but I don't have like real manly chest hair. These are all signs of being Native American. Like I grow patchy facial hair.
My facial hair does pretty well. Yeah.
Because I'm also an 8th Native.
Yep.
I'm an 8th Native. I'm an 8th Jewish, and I'm an 8th
But I'm
Black.
telling you, from what I've been told, and I'm not an expert on this, so I could be wrong. You could be right. I'm not arguing.
You're
it.
probably right.
I've heard that like if you and your sister have the same mom and dad,
you can have
she
different
might
percentages.
be way more Swedish than you.
Yeah,
you know, like big time. I mean, she could be 80. She could be more Swedish.
So that's gene expression. So here's what that is. So because here's the deal. No matter how you try to look at it,
all right,
you and your sister both have equally 50% your mom and your dad DNA.
Correct.
But how that DNA has been expressed,
hey, there you go.
She looks and has more Swedish attributes than you. That's why.
Are you positive on
100%. Because that's why, literally, quite literally, you could have white parents, white parents, white parents, white grandparents, white great-grandparents, and then all of a sudden you mate with a white girl and that kid's black, and you challenge the paternity, and they're like, no, dude, you're the father. And you're like, how do I have a black kid? Every family member's white. Well, because 16 generations ago, you had a black ancestor.
But you know how fucking...
And those genes didn't express themselves until your child.
That would be badass.
That's why.
I would love
I'm not saying you're complaining about it, but that's called gene expression.
Okay. Yep.
And that's how you get blue eyes versus brown eyes.
Right.
Like people used to think like dominant gene, recessive gene, and that's not how it works, dude. Like you can have a recessive gene show up in generation after generation.
Sure.
That's called gene expression, and some of that is environmental. So that's why you can have two identical twins look the same their whole lives, and then by 40 they look completely different.
Okay.
Because that's called gene expression. Those are mutations that happen while those cells are mutating throughout those people's lives. Okay. My little brothers are exact examples. I have two twin brothers that are identical twins. They looked identical their whole lives. Now they don't look anything alike. Right. And that's because their genes mutated differently and express themselves differently throughout the course of their lives. Okay. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yep. I said a lot of information really fast, but I also tried to
I get it, and that makes sense.
I'm not trying to have a 4-hour conversation on genetics either.
But yeah, I mean,
but they both had the exact 50-50 DNA from each parent.
Back to this, to where it stemmed from is if you don't have people hating on your shit, then you ain't doing it right.
I agree.
The only time
Cat
that
Williams
you
said
can, the comedian,
Cat Williams.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know. I've actually,
I'm trying to get 4 or 5 new haters every day.
Yeah, straight up, man. Because like, if you're relevant, you ain't doing shit. No one gives a fuck, right? So I ain't got nothing to say about it. So you're relevant, you're doing things, and now everybody got something to say about it, you know? And like,
you realize we didn't even scratch the surface on this podcast?
Yeah, we could go.
We have so much to get to. You got to come on and do this.
Yeah, we'll do it again, man.
We got to do it again soon. I want to get you on late December, early January.
All right. We'll see what we can make happen, man.
Like about a month out.
All right.
Yeah. Because we got some of the backstory in. People kind of know, like, now people kind of know, like, a little bit about your history.
Oh,
and,
dude,
like,
there's so
also,
much.
we kind of Tarantino'd it and jumped way to the...
Yeah.
But now kind of people understand who you are.
Right.
And next time you come back on, we don't need to tell the stories. We can just talk about our experiences and
maybe dive into some Vikings and some fucking twins and some fucking
that's the toughest part about having like the first podcast with a new guest is like people have to understand who you are and what makes you tick,
right,
so they can relate to you. And then next time you come on, they're like, oh, this guy again, he was cool, now I understand who he is. And then when you start talking about Vikings football or music or politics, they understand where you're coming from and it makes it relatable.
Well,
and
to me, like,
it separates you from a tweet.
When it goes to politics, like, I don't even want to talk about it, man. Y'all like who you like.
That shit's exhausting.
Do what you do. It's too exhausting for me to
keep
keep
where
up
I
with.
stand on that shit, right?
I don't care.
I'm a third party dude.
Okay.
I voted for libertarian twice in a row.
Okay.
Like, I haven't voted for
and most people on both sides would be like, that's a waste of a vote because you're just throwing your vote away. But I don't care.
I haven't voted for winning president since 2008, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's an every other kind of thing for me. And honestly, I just don't give a fuck. If you like who you like, then do it. I'm not going to change your mind anyways. And it shouldn't make you change your mind on who I am or what I believe in, because I ain't going to fucking sit and preach to you about, it's like religion. Like, I'm not going to sit here and fucking tell you how I feel about that shit, because I don't have a feeling.
We're gonna have that conversation. Like, hey, I want to talk about religion.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and you and I would have that conversation.
Now
but
we're
we
gonna
wouldn't
do
it on. I wouldn't do it on this, because to be honest with you, it's no one's fucking business, man. It's you and me, man to man. We talk about that shit,
Right?
You know, and I don't
some
feel
people,
strongly
some
enough
people are
about.
down for that.
I don't
but,
feel strongly
whatever.
enough about any of it, or like so. And I guess I do feel strongly about politics, but it's not. I don't care what you like. I don't care what she likes. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
That's how I feel about the sexual identity shit. Like, I really don't care if you're gay or straight or trans. Like, honestly, it's none of my business.
Yeah.
Like those things are so
that's
far from my mind.
That's a tricky thing, having an 18-year-old and going through.
That's different because it's my business.
Yep. Well, yeah. I mean, with her,
kid.
yeah. I'm not talking about
right?
her. I'm talking about her friends. You know, like they made a great,
you're right.
great painting, and I'm like, so like her and her mom. Well, her and I'm like, okay, so all right, so
I see what you're saying.
she's a lesbian, right? Yep, she likes girls. Okay, but she identifies as a boy. So her name is Adrian or whatever, or
I think that's
Malachi
called
or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get all that. But then so then I'm like, so plural, right?
That's my
so
problem.
now we're fucking with the English language, like, and that, and I'm not hating. I'm just trying to understand. So, and I have learned to understand, because at first I'm like, no, man, it's just. So now it's a tricky thing, you know.
For
like
me,
and I don't give a shit what you are, what you want, or what you like, or
here's
who
the
you.
thing, dude. I don't care. I had Jen Dean on the podcast.
If you want to get boobs, I'll come right on here and fucking talk about your boobs,
that's
man.
easy, bro. I had Jen Dean on the podcast. Like, I talked to her in depth about
Who,
this. She's
is
coming
this
back
all the
on.
Pretty Horses?
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's
played
coming
shows
back
with
on.
them. Great musicians.
And she's coming back on.
Great people.
And I'm sure it'll come up again.
Yep.
Here's the thing: is like that shit's easy to wrap your head around. The they shit is not easy to wrap your head around, because again, not only is it plural, but you're claiming two things at once, which literally, according to the gay rights that I marched for, literally in high school when I took the day off of school and went to the gay rights fucking march.
I have a ton of friends that are homosexual.
This slaps them in the face because they're saying, no, it's not a choice. I was born gay. This is who I am.
And I agree with that.
So these other people that are running around saying I'm gender fluid and I switch my sexuality and my gender based on the day and the mood, I'm like, wait a minute.
I don't think they switch it on the day or the mood. I just
some of them have, bro.
Okay, well, I don't know that in particular.
Some of them on podcasts have done it in conversation.
What I see is a lot of girls in their mind are boys. Okay, fine.
I think they're just lesbians. Most
sure,
of them.
But then
most of them,
they identify as a boy. Okay, I get all that. I'm fine with a girl wanting to be he. Okay, he. All right, fine. You want to change your name?
Too.
Yep,
yeah,
that's fine.
Cool.
But plural.
Right.
I'm confused. That's
if you want me to change it day to day, that's where I'm saying when we start getting into the gender fluid shit.
I haven't met that.
It's called being gender fluid.
That seems bipolar to me.
Thank you. It's called being gender fluid. Okay. And they want to be able to change it.
Okay.
For me, it's like, no. That's not how your sexuality works. Like, you're either bisexual, you're gay, or you're straight.
Well, the way
you're
I
either
tried
a man,
to explain it,
or you're a woman, or you're transgender.
The way I tried to explain it to my daughter,
have the best of both worlds. You don't get to be a dude and identify as a woman. You don't get to be a woman and identify as a dude.
So that's what I was trying to get at with my daughter.
You have to pick one.
I'm like, all right, so I'm a dude. I identify as a chick who wants to be a dude, and I like women. Does that make me a lesbian?
How are you presenting yourself? That's the question.
Well, as a man, because I'm a woman. In my mind, I'm a woman.
But if you're
wanting to identify as a man, which I am, that likes women.
But if you're presenting yourself as a dude,
come on,
you're a dude.
Yeah, no shit. But I'm saying, like,
but if you're a chick presenting yourself as a dude, you're still a dude. In this transgender world,
right?
Is what's not cool is when you look like a dude, you act like a dude, you talk like a dude,
right?
And you demand women's rights. Go fuck yourself,
right?
Like, no, you're exploiting everyone else's rights.
Well, if you don't demand, yeah. I don't know.
see what I'm
That's
saying?
another. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like
but
when
that's-
you come in looking like a 6'4" linebacker, you
Right.
look like a dude, you sound like a dude,
Right.
you're acting like an aggressive dude, and
Right.
you intimidate a 5'7" dude,
Yep.
and you're demanding to be treated like a woman and be called a woman.
Right.
You're confusing people.
Right.
Now, if you're a 6'4" woman
Yeah.
or man, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
if you're a 6'4" man who's transitioning
Right.
and you're going the Bruce Jenner route and you're talking like a woman, you're dressing like a woman, you're presenting yourself as a woman, you're acting like what we would back in the day call a lady,
Yep.
and someone misgenders you,
Yep.
then he's just being a dick.
Yep. 100%.
Right?
Yep.
Like, it's not as complicated as some of these people are making
It
it.
just doesn't need to be that complicated.
Like,
Just
dude, because there's a lot of real women out
love
there.
who you want to love.
And I apologize, I'm not trying to offend anybody when I say real women. I see biological women, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of women that are born out there
Yeah.
as women that are extremely manly,
Sure.
but they present themselves as women,
Sure.
and everyone's like, "Oh, sorry, ma'am," and then they might even whisper like, "Dude, that chick is manly as fuck," but they
Yeah.
don't doubt that there's a vagina there.
Right.
However, if you have facial hair on and stubble, and you have a low voice and an Adam's apple,
Right.
and all you have is a fucking skirt and a wig, and you're screaming at people.
This visual, bro.
This is a real thing. This happened at a GameStop.
Oh, okay.
This is a real thing. Like I'm not
So I don't
making
go
this
to
up.
GameStop.
I'm not. This
Nah, I do.
is a viral video. In fact, most of the viewers and listeners already know what I'm talking about because this isn't even new. This
All right.
happened, and
All
this
right.
is like one of the center issues.
I gotta piss.
Go for
We're
it.
gonna take care of that. He's gonna talk to you for a minute about this transgender. gal.
No one's gonna talk to me about this shit. Is what I should do is. If you want, you can. There's a sink next to the washer. Otherwise, dude, you can just go upstairs. Is what I'm really going to do in the meantime is I'm going to pull up my song that I make everyone listen to because I only have one good mix of one song. So, guess what, guys? You're going to listen to this. Here we go. Because I don't have the attention or bandwidth to talk to the ether. Like, everyone just tuned out. That's so fucking funny. There we go.
Revolution without dancing is a revolution not worth having.
Shout out to Dalton on these badass leads. Let's start that shit over. Whoo! So I wrote all this except for the lead guitars and the vocals.
Revolution not worth having.
And this is Dalton right here. So good. I'm playing this because it's not copyrighted. If anybody listening to this podcast right now wants me to play their music and I don't have to worry about a copyright infringement, send it to me. I will put it in a thing, and when we do these breaks in the future, I will play more than this one song. I don't think the video's synced up with the music. I don't think it is. Like, when you listen to this back, I don't think, like, I'm gonna be on beat. So this is my shit. Now I got Jeremy Montoya from Wither the Tide and Buried by Hope singing.
Okay.
And then I got Dalton from -3 playing lead guitar.
Whoa.
And then I wrote all the music, so the drums and the guitars and the composition. And these two dudes came in and put their flavor on it. We're coming out of the interlude. We're going to go back into a verse. Well, we'll hit an interlude solo, a verse, and a chorus. You'll actually be able to clip this. Here it comes. Dude, I'm telling you. Turn this shit up. Hey, you got your headphones, turn that up. Because I'm telling you right now, bro. I'll quiet down a little bit. Woo! Here it comes. Here it comes. You ready for this solo, bro?
That's you playing drums?
Program drums, but I'll tell you after.
All right.
All right. So that's basically the song. That's the outro coming in there. Okay, so here's the deal. To answer your question, I wrote all the guitars, and then I played acoustic drums and wrote all the drums. And then what Dalton did is he did an incredible job of going into Logic and literally putting the program drums as close to what he possibly could get to what I actually played.
Which is what a lot of people do nowadays.
Yeah. So we're gonna eventually bring the drums up a notch. But he was really integral in increasing the sound quality of the demo we had by moving to program drums while still being able to capture the main concepts and grooves. He missed a couple things, but understanding what he went through to get where he got, I'm like, man, that's pretty fucking good. That's good enough for now. That's what we're going to call the final pre-production mix.
Nice.
Because every note I have and correction I have can be fixed day of recording.
Right.
Like because I still have that original demo, bro. So I'm still talking to Al Bourne. Haven't heard from him in a while. I don't know what's going on with him. But I got a couple backup drummers already now. I've been talking to a couple other people. So when we go into the real studio to record the real album, the notes I have can be done on the spot day of. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because they still have the original demos to work off of, and then they understand what a good sounding product is going to sound like. So anybody with anything, you ever heard the term craftsmanship is skill without creativity?
I guess I haven't heard that, but I think that's pretty accurate.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So anybody with any creativity can see the difference between the two.
Right.
Like
Right.
if I get just a straight up craftsman, a replicator, basically, then I'm fucked. Then I have to have them listen to only what I'm playing on acoustic drums and just perform them better.
Right.
If I get somebody who's a real artist, man,
I guess
they
it
can
depends
listen to
on
the
what
two.
we're talking about, man. If we're talking about a carpenter, a fucking plumber, I'm cool with the craftsman. You know what I mean?
Right?
So
If you're talking a trade, but if you're talking
Yeah.
art,
yep.
you don't want a craftsman.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you do. Maybe
See
if
what I'm
you're
saying?
the artist, you
Sure.
want a craftsman.
Yep. In fact, too many artists, bad thing.
Too many cooks in the kitchen?
Yep.
I love
Always.
it. Yep.
So best writings, you and a guitarist, or you know, vocals and guitar, or bass and drums, or like when you start breaking up the squad, that's when the magic happens.
For sure.
So
Well, listen, man, we've been going almost 3 hours,
Yep.
dude. Plug your shit. Throw your plugs out there and let's wrap it up.
yes, sir. So be on the lookout. Ghost of Mississippi, coming soon. Real dope, laid back, different shit. But I think all generations will appreciate this project. It's phenomenal musicianship. Not on my behalf, the other ones. But Nuisance.
You're pretty good yourself, bro.
I work hard.
Like
man.
you're figuring. I've seen the videos, dude. I've seen
Yeah.
the rehearsals. Like you've got some shit online. If you guys are interested, follow him directly.
Yep,
He's gonna
yep.
plug his link here in a second.
Yep. So
But
Vince,
for real, hold on.
Yeah.
For real though, like for real, you figured out a way to take your ability and your creative skill and put yourself in a position where you can maximize those abilities. And you've done it in 2 consecutive bands, dude. That's a hard feat to accomplish, man.
I appreciate that,
so good
bro.
for you, man. Go ahead and plug your shit, guys.
Nuisance, Vince on Facebook, Vince Ebertz. Come follow. You probably already do, or you don't, or you want to, or you won't. It don't matter. But yeah, man, keep an eye out. Always support your local music, support your local artists, support your local businesses. Get out there, man. Spread some love. Do what you got to fucking do. I mean,
and get that hustle on.
Yeah, get that hustle on.
Stop waiting for the government to fix your problems, whatever country you're in.
Hey, and if you're locked down,
this is a global podcast.
You're locked down in your house and you're struggling on that mortgage, like that will get figured out. Just trust in that, and also start fixing your fucking house, man. Buy some paint, do some shit, build that equity. Everything you do. Excuse me. COVID.
I'm not even smoking now.
COVID.
Post-COVID struggles.
Post-COVID Malone.
Dude, that's a great band name.
Yeah, there you go.
Post-COVID Malone. That's your cover band name. Somebody out there right now.
Yeah.
Somebody out there is talking about creating a Post Malone cover band.
You better
That's
be
your
good.
name. That's your name right now.
Because my
the
boy's
Post-COVID Malone. That's your band name.
Hey, if you're going to do it, I want 10% of nothing.
At least 1%.
Yeah, at least a shout out.
And I'll take 1/4% because it was on my podcast.
All right, man. You can have my 1/4%. Whatever.
So you owe us 1.25% of total revenue because we came up with the band name, but it's yours.
Yep.
You own it. But from here going forward, you are contractually obligated. You owe him 1% because he came up with the name. You owe me 1/4% because that shit came up on my podcast. That's 1.25%.
Do the math.
You still get 98.75. That's a good deal.
Whatever it is, man. Y'all spread that love each other, man. Or try to. I know people equal shit, and we know that, but let's change that. And just help each other out, man. This shit is tough on everybody. Plenty of people got it worse. Plenty of people got it better. You're probably just floating through the middle like the rest of us. But reach out.
Rough.
It's rough, man. It's a weird year. Worst year in my life. So without a doubt. But I'm still
and you're
here.
Still doing well financially.
I'm still doing just fine, man. So
I want you guys to think about that, man. Because seriously, I've been having a lot of conversations with a lot of people lately, and I think a lot of us thought that Trump not winning the election would bring some sort of continuity and stability, and it's already apparent that's not happening because people are completely still 100% only thinking about themselves. Like, dude, if you got a job, stop complaining, but don't bitch about if you're somebody who doesn't have a job. Don't bitch about the people that do have a job, because just because somebody's balling and doing well,
or hey, how about less bitching and more the opposite of that, right?
Just compassion, right?
Yeah, just compassion. So,
just understanding,
there's people out there working their asses off through this whole pandemic that,
and they're balling out of control money,
well,
but
they're
not doing well.
They're not,
but
man.
they're not doing well mentally. Like there's some frontline workers that are putting in
so much shit.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm saying. Let's put this in perspective. There's people doing frontline work 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
They're balling out of control because they're making overtime. They were already making good money.
But dude, they're exposed
that doesn't
to
mean
COVID
they're happy.
every day. Their families missing them.
They're suffering.
Mom's at work.
They're
nonstop.
still suffering.
Damn right they're suffering, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep. And financial has never been something that I gave that big of a fuck about. Pay the bills, put food on the table, buy yourself some sweet ass fucking red shoes, whatever the fuck you got to do to make yourself happy. But the point is,
I've learned about vacations.
Vacations are everything.
Traveling.
Man. I drove a hoopty for fucking 10 years because I wanted to go on vacation 2 or 3 times
Seriously,
a year.
you
And
guys,
I did.
And I understand right now in a COVID world, this seems like the most insane thing to think of, but there's still safe ways to do it.
Yep.
Dude, save up some money.
Get the fuck out.
Do whatever. Create a side hustle. Like, okay, I'm gonna give everybody a plan. I talked about this on the first 4 podcasts. I'm gonna talk about this right now. If you live in a city and things have collapsed, okay, beg, scratch, borrow. Don't rob. Don't steal. Beg, scratch, borrow. Get your $250 to $500 that you need. If you live in a northern climate where there's snow, I got a solution for you. You go down to the city. You file as an actual business, okay? Once you file as an actual business, you are now a snow plowing, snow removal company. And the city, okay, now I'm speaking of Minneapolis, Hennepin County, but this is true across any big city where there's snowfall in the winter and you're struggling and you're desperate right now. Maybe you do or do not have unemployment, whatever. Beg, scratch, borrow. Get this little bit of money together. Form a legitimate LLC. They're cheap. And the city hands out contracts, lots, properties, rental places where they're not getting their shit plowed on time. And the city will pay you money to go plow that. You don't have to market. You don't have to go find customers. You literally just go downtown, apply, get a list. They give you a list of properties and you go do them and you get paid. It's guaranteed money. You got to still invest and start your own shit, but this is a way you can survive. So the moral of the story is what Vince has been talking about, what I've been talking about for 40 podcasts now, is listen, man, whatever you're going through, somebody else has it worse, like way worse. And whether you were making 150 grand or you were only making 20 grand, we're all in the same spot right now. And even if you're still making money, your family's suffering, people are getting divorced, motherfuckers are committing suicide, people are fucking losing their minds. Like, shit is rough out there. So stay strong and take control of your own destiny. Just don't become a criminal to do it. That's the point. Be creative. I just mentioned craftsmanship without creativity, right? Like, okay, if you don't have a trade, or if you do have a trade and there's nothing available, try to figure out a way to hustle legally, man, because that's the only way you're going to fucking make it through this. That's all I got to say, man. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, share, follow Vince. I don't have the links in there now, but I'll put the links in there. Come back to the video. All his links will be in the description. We're going to try to do something here, man. We got to get through this, dude, because it's getting rough for everybody. There's more shutdowns coming. It's exactly what I thought was going to happen, so I'm not excited about this in any way. But we also launched our Patreon, guys, so join the Patreon. Come on, guys. There's a $3, a $5, and a $10 level. There is exclusive content on there now. You can download some music. There's one song on there now, the one I played earlier. So if you like the song, you can put that shit in your iTunes now. And I do a weekly, twice weekly podcast where it's just me. I answer one-on-one questions. We can like chill, vibe, whatever. Other than that, thank you very much, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that cheesy shit. You guys know what you're doing. It's an online world now, guys. Have a good night.
Later.
Vince, you got to come on and do this again, man.
Yeah, we'll do it again, brother.
This was a blast. And we didn't even scratch the surface, man. This was a fucking blast,
yeah.
guys. Thank you very much, guys. We're out. Yeah, dude, this was a blast, dude.
Hell yeah, man. That fucking flew by, man. Now I gotta get outside of here.